$1,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Progressive knows you've got enough to worry about in life.
Hi, it's your life again. Feel like another year is just slipping away? Yeah, remember all those New Year's resolutions you made? You still haven't finished the first book. Just 19 more to go. I mean, if we're being honest, it wasn't a very realistic goal. Have you ever considered that you intentionally self-sabotage? So what's that about?
So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Richie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Richie Law is on top of it.
That one back, that one going, gone!
Go to RichieLaw.com.
That's RichieLaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Granger. This afternoon, mostly cloudy skies, some evening thunderstorms. One or two of those could produce some wind damage. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms today. Highs in the mid-80s with more cloud cover than yesterday. 67 overnight tonight, and then for tomorrow, we're drier with a high of 90 degrees.
Weather update is brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 87 points at 42,849.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on a Tuesday. I'm Tim Donnelly. Graham Hill producing the show. Sitting in for Dennis Cox, who you just heard stepping in for Adam Gold. So we're rotating a little bit here. But the good thing is we have depth. Shout out to the lesson learned from the Florida Panthers last night. Game 3. Canes fans, did it feel familiar? I know it did to me. The first part of that Eastern Conference Finals, right? 6-1? I don't really have any allegiances or connection to the Edmonton Oilers, but part of me last night did want to reach out and go, I know what you're feeling right now. It's pretty frustrating, isn't it? And guess what? The Oilers were pretty frustrated. The Panthers did everything the Panthers do, got under their skin, sent waves and waves and waves of good players at them, and a 6-1. Do we call it pivotal? It's probably a pivotal game 3, right?
I call it a mollywhopping.
All right, we'll call it a mollywhopping.
Setting of the tone, if we're being completely honest. I know it was only game 3 last night, but still.
I mean, it was a resetting of the tone, I guess, because obviously Edmonton. And anyway, here's what I want to get to first. Be careful the buying of Sam Bennett. Be careful the desire to buy Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett last night was awesome. Sam Bennett in this series has been awesome. We're talking about Florida Panthers forward Sam Bennett, who is scheduled to be a free agent this offseason. I doubt he'll make it, but with every goal he scores, and he's now scored 1 billion of them this postseason, with every whistle that sounds and he throws an elbow at the opposing team's face just to show that he's ready to be physical, with every single play, I'm feeling more and more and more and more of Canes Nation, of the Caniacs, going, there's our guy.
Why can't we have that? Why can't we have that?
He solves everything we need. We need a center. Ba-boom. We need goal scoring. Look at him. We need toughness. There he is. We need size. Sam Bennett. I'm here to say, no, not that guy. And the reason is, first of all, if you can find that player that I just described all the time, then you go get him. Okay, if that is, like, if Sam Bennett at the beginning of this postseason just became a different player and he's that good at everything the Canes need, yes, you go get him. But I don't think he does. And I don't play the stock market. I don't know it well enough. But I know the cliches of the stock market. Buy low, sell high. Sam Bennett right now will never be higher. In his career, he is a 0.5 point per game player. Half a point per game. He's never had more than 51 points in an entire NHL regular season. This postseason, he is a 1 point per game player. 0.7 goals per game. He has 20 points just this postseason. He's never had more than 51 in an entire regular season. There is a tax that comes with playing great in the postseason. You know who has to pay that tax? The team that he's on, not the team that he's going to be on. Florida's going to have to overpay to keep him. Why? Because they're paying for what he's done. He hasn't done anything for the Canes. You don't pay, like, and by the way, history in all sports littered with great postseason leads to overpaying a player, and then it's regret. Now, if you were on the team that he overplayed on, right, he had a great postseason for, and you overpay, it doesn't hurt as bad because you can always point back to the ring, the trophy, whatever that you won with him. You know, think Strasburg, think Flacco, think we can go on and on. Think to really any of the players that had abnormally great postseason, sign a gigantic contract. It rarely turns out well if their postseason run was completely different than their regular season run. As long as the team that won the championship paid them, they're cool, right? Ravens don't regret paying Flacco. They got that Super Bowl, right? Banners hang forever. But there's a bunch of people that don't have it, overpay the playoff guy, the playoff performer, and they do regret it.
And here's the thing: he's only projected to get $6.4 million per season by daily faceoff. But like you mentioned, there are so many teams out there that would be like, "Here, we'll throw in an extra $2 million just to get that proven playoff performer on their roster."
$10 million is where it's going to start for him per year. $10 million is where it will start with him.
That's where the bidding will begin.
And if you take away the numbers, or you take away the name, and you take away the intangibles, or whatever you want to talk about, he's at what? 6.5 is what the numbers say.
Yeah,
6.5. I don't know about that. There's this again. If Florida wants to pay it, fine, because they can always point back to last year and this year's postseason runs, and they can always be cool with it. But not the Canes.
Do you feel like the Hurricanes are more likely to explore the trade market to fill their second-line center hole rather than try to just offer him straight up during the offseason?
I actually think the trade market, there's two things they have to fill, right? They have to fill, I believe, a top-end scoring winger and a second-line center, and then probably a veteran or two on the blue line. I think they will solve one in free agency and one with a trade, meaning either the forward scorer, the winger scorer, or the center. It's just a matter of what's available. We've heard a bunch of rumors about who they're interested in. If it's Sam Bennett and they pay him $10 million, I will be confused because it would go against everything that the Canes have done. Right? They do not pay for the narrative. They pay for the numbers. They're an analytics-based group, at least as of late. And then secondarily, it doesn't fit the need. It does, like what he's done the last 20 games does. We have bigger sample sizes than that to judge the player. right? The lesson for me watching that game last night, which, by the way, was a thorough domination, right? When you see the Oilers at the end of the game, they're not themselves. They're almost trying to play the Panthers game, and we've seen other teams do it. It doesn't work. Be you. It was a thorough domination. Watching that game, the lesson I learned wasn't we need more Sam Bennetts if you're a team watching from home. The lesson was you need to get a lot of questions right. You need to get a lot of depth. You need to get a lot more than just one guy. 6-1, you ready for some stats in this one? No player had more than one goal. 6 different goal scorers for the Panthers. No player had more than 2 points on the entire team. The first line, the second line, and the third line of forwards all had exactly 4 points. First line and second line, 2 goals, 2 assists. Third line, 3 assists, 1 goal. The first, second, and third pairing of defensemen all had at least 1 point.
Since we're talking numbers, I'd like to throw something at you.
I love numbers. Go ahead.
11 times. That's how many times the Florida Panthers have scored 5 or more goals in a single game this postseason. Twice against the Tampa Bay Lightning, 3 times against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then this is where it hits home.
I know.
4 times against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, we were there. And to me, it's obviously Bennett's having a run. I don't even look at him as, what is it? Barkov and Tkachuk have been wildly quiet in this series, meaning the Stanley Cup final. Marchand's getting it going. Bennett's getting it going. Verhaeghe's getting it going. And we can go on. Reinhardt's getting it going. Like, we can go on and on. It is a depth thing with the Panthers.
They just come at you in waves.
It is a depth. I think you could easily say the best player and the second best player are in this series are both on the Oilers. But then how many consecutive Panthers do you go before you get to another Oiler, right? You got the 1 and the 2. We got the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however far you want to count. That's the lesson I'm watching. That's the lesson I'm learning. It's Sam Bennett is great, and I'm sure he's like. Can you imagine if you're like Sam Bennett's uncle or aunt watching these? It's got to be just the most. Every time I watch, he scores a goal. This is incredible. Oh my goodness, let's throw a party. It's so much fun. But you don't pursue a player based on what they've done. You base it on what you think they're going to do. And if you think from now on Sam Bennett is a point per game player, you'd be going against history in a big way. Now, I do think he brings a certain amount of edge and he brings a certain amount of grittiness or whatever, and I just think you can find that for less than $10 million. Which, by the way, by the end of this Stanley Cup final, $10 million might be low. It might be 11 per year. And I know the cap's going up, but if you can get, a similar player for my money for 7 and a veteran blue liner for 4, and it's the same amount of cash, that's the depth we're talking about. You need to be good all the way through your lineup. All the way through. That's what the Panthers proved last night. You can overcome not having the best player or the best couple of players if you have the best roster. You still need a couple of studs, though. Let's not sell the Panthers short. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's my reaction to last night's Stanley Cup Final Game 3. When we come back, college sports are paying players with parameters, with guardrails. Everyone's so excited for the guardrails, right? We talked with Dave Doran, head coach NC State football yesterday. He's excited for the guardrails, right? Some format. What is that going to bring back? There's something creeping back into college sports from the previous underbelly. I'll tell you what that is coming up. Don't go anywhere.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. We always talk about community in the sports world. You might not know somebody, but you might see them wearing your favorite jersey of a team that you like. Well, guess what? They're part of that community, and that's where Law Tigers is part of the motorcycle riding community, and that's why they are there for you in case you're injured in a motorcycle accident. Law Tigers, they're riders as well. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth, but most importantly, they know what you're going through after you've been in an accident. That's why it's always important to call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, because you have people that are part of the motorcycle riding community that are there to protect you and make sure that you get everything you can after you're injured in a motorcycle accident. That's why your case evaluation with them is always free, and they don't get paid a dime until your case settles. So make sure, again, you contact 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you contact the insurance company. Again, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS is the number to call. Law Tigers is the network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm. Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against Euro sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Álvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit somoslocales.com.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Our state's future begins with our students. That's why the North Carolina Education Lottery has contributed over $10 billion to education. Through scholarships, school construction, support staff, and pre-K programs, lottery dollars move our state forward, helping students become the best versions of themselves. Visit movingncstudentsforward.com and share how your student or school community has benefited for a chance to earn $2,000 for your story. Must be 18 to play. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. All right, let's paint the scenario here. I need windows, but man, I don't have 3 hours to go through the process of deciding what I need, when I need it. Can you help at the Aluminum Company?
Absolutely. So, first of all, when we come out to your house to look at your windows, typical window appointment may last 45 minutes, an hour. We're certainly not going to make a 4 or 5 hour commitment to talk about windows. We're there to help.
Serve dinner last time.
Right. Listen, my wife always says, I talk to my wife all the time when we have salespeople, whatever we're doing. And my wife, I tell her all the time, I can't stand salespeople. And she laughs. She's like, you are a salesperson. I'm like, well, the difference is I'm just having a conversation trying to help people get what they want. I'm not there to pressure you. I'm just there to help you get in and out. And it's a pretty quick appointment. It's pretty efficient. So we're there to help you and make it quick.
I can vouch for that. The Aluminum Company of North Carolina, online at aluminumcompany.com.
The House settlement, something that we've all kind of been waiting for, and now that that's been handed down, it's quite lengthy and technical, and so, we have people on our staff and lawyers and so forth that are looking at it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We'll check in with Graham, who's producing the show today, because his music selection makes me involuntarily giggle every time he brings us out a break. Graham, what goes into choosing that one?
There is a theme for today. We'll get to it a little bit later. I just
right.
wanted to play Money for Nothing by Dire Straits since we're talking about the NCAA versus House settlement. I felt like it was pretty fitting.
My days as a DJ on a rock, blues rock station in central Nebraska, we played some songs that I guess you would like, which is hilarious because you're in your mid-20s. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Yesterday, the news coming out of the weekend, the breaking news, the big deal, was that the judge, the courts, the legal system finally declared that the revenue share that had been long assumed was finally approved for college sports, which meant schools, the universities themselves, could directly pay players. They can take it straight out of the tuition if they wanted to, right? Their endowments if they wanted to, and give it straight to the athletes for playing at their school. And the number divided up amongst all of the sports that you have, the revenue share limit was a little over $20 million. Then there was all of these other details, right? Certain amount of money, or there was a maximum of how much of that money could go to one sport. All 20 and change couldn't go to football or men's basketball. There'd have to be a little bit of diversification. There's then a checks and balances system. There's a commission and a third-party evaluator for all additional NIL money, right? So if you are getting an endorsement or some kind of NIL deal outside of the money spent by your university on players, so you're going and getting a local auto dealership to pay you money to promote, or an appearance fee for showing up at an autograph signing, or something as big as a Gatorade national commercial or a Dr. Pepper national commercial. All of that would have to go and be approved by a third party for market value to show that you aren't doing $10 worth of work or bringing $10 worth of value to a company and they're paying you $10 million. That's obviously an exaggeration, but you get it. I missed one of the biggest unintended consequences of this entire situation yesterday. I caught a bunch of unintended consequences, right? I think that there will be teams that try to tank every other year because you can manipulate it to almost get twice the budget for 1 year if you spend nothing on the previous year. I think there's going to be arguments within athletic departments. I think the basketball coach and the football coach are going to be arguing against giving money to the other, right? The football coach is going to go to the athletic director and say, our basketball team hasn't won the conference in 10 years. Why are they getting so much money? We win the conference every 3 years. They're going to be down, like literally insulting other programs on their university because they want a bigger slice of the revenue share pie.
Stanford's Olympic sports are going to start going to the football and basketball programs and saying, hold on a minute, okay?
Why is football getting so much money? They stink. Then there's this other one, and shout out, hat tip to The Athletic because they pointed it out first. The return of the under-the-table payments. It's the return of what they used to call the bag man, right? The duffel bag full of cash that used to show up on a parent's doorstep, the $1,000 handshakes. They're coming back. And do you know why? Because of this third-party evaluation. If you have a booster that wants to give a player $100,000 to play for the school, but you can't find a way to make the market value add up, you think you're just not going to give the money? You think that player is just going to go, oh, darn, okay, Deloitte, this consulting firm doesn't say I'm worth it, so now I won't get it? Or do you think, just like back in the 80s, oh, a sports car is going to show up in their driveway. I don't know who brought it here. And if you think it didn't happen, it did. Matter of fact, since athletes have been allowed to get money, since athletes have been allowed to sign NIL deals, a lot of athletes, if you listen to all the player-led podcasts and all of everything else that's going on in media, a lot of former athletes have become much more comfortable telling the truth about how much money they were offered on recruiting trips, about duffel bags that showed up. Jeff Teague, who played at Wake Forest, right? ACC basketball player in this century prior to NIL, talked about going on a recruiting trip. Now, he didn't say the school because, there's still, I guess, statute of limitations. But he went on a recruiting trip, and they said it was him and like a youth coach. That's who brought him on the recruiting trip. And they said, all right, hey, we got a bunch of gear in there that you would get if you were a player. Why don't you go ahead and check out everything, and we got to go do something. We'll be right back to get you. They go into a room, start checking out gear, open up a duffel bag. There's like $50,000 in there. He tells this story publicly. So if when it was against the rules for athletes to get any money, Athletes were still getting money. What happens when there's now like, well, we can give you money. Everyone's cool with you getting money. Nobody wants you to be poor. Nobody wants you to be an amateur like we used to say, an amateur like we used to say. Everybody wants you to have cash. We just can't give it to you in this particular way. No, they're just going to say, take the cash. And you know what else is hilarious? It's going to be impossible to catch. Because back in the day, right, if a player grew up middle class, lower class, right, the parents did okay, but there wasn't flashy money, if they all of a sudden drove up in a Lamborghini, what would we all do? I know where that came from. I know where that money came from. And then they'd be investigated, and that's how they'd get caught. Well, what about this? What if a player's getting $700,000 from the school in revenue share money and $500,000 under the table? Now they show up in a Lamborghini. Everyone's like, oh, where'd you? No, I got $700,000 in a check like the other day, all legally, all up front. That's where I paid for it. And no one's going to even ask questions about the $500,000. Bagmen are back. The money that just shows up is back. It's like if I don't know, like if marijuana became illegal again and all of a sudden all the dispensaries went away and then, you know, the weed dealers from back in the day are like, let everybody know we're back up. And it's, I mean, maybe not exactly, but kind of. Right? We're cool with players getting cash. Right? We are. That's what this ruling says. We're as a sports society, as long as it's market value, they are okay with it. Well, market value, in my estimation, is whatever you can get somebody to pay you. If I put a bicycle on Facebook Marketplace and I list it for $400, that might be what it's worth. Maybe I paid $1,000 for it. I rode it 6 times. Might be worth $400. If no one's paying it, that's not what it's worth. Same is true vice versa. If I put a beat up ragtag Huffy on Facebook Marketplace, someone wants to pay me $1,000 for it, that's what it's worth. But for some reason, that's not how this is going to work. There's going to be a committee that says that bicycle is only worth $200. You can't accept $1,000 for it. And what's going to happen then is the player's going to accept the $200, and then $800 is going to find its way into their mailbox. And they'll just get a text saying, did you check the mail recently? And do you know what's the funniest part about all this? I don't think the NCAA can enforce it. What is the NCAA going to do?
Just wait for another Supreme Court ruling in a couple of years? I mean, really?
The NCAA, I don't believe, has the power. If an Ohio State player gets paid under the table and the NCAA tries to punish Ohio State will simply go, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, let's roll, and they'll start their own league, and the NCAA can't afford to have that happen, so they can't really punish them. They have no leverage. So these under-the-table payments are just going to be accepted. And maybe it's just so the willfully ignorant, right? Those that the ones that will willingly suspend their disbelief will just go, oh, now we're back kind of to what sports were when I was a kid. Nobody is getting stupid money for nothing. Everything's market value. No, it's not. Actually, it is, because it's what someone's willing to pay. But it's definitely not like a good investment for a business. They want to see their team win. It's just how it goes. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And shout out to the players. Don't get caught. But I guess, duffel bag of cash shows up on your doorstep. What are you supposed to do? Bring it inside. Give it a good home. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. And perhaps invest in real estate. And if you do, you probably need a mortgage. Gordon Miller and Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, home of the no-cost loan, which means you don't have to take cash out of your pocket, right? Obviously, you need cash for the down payments. You need to negotiate the sale price of the house. But anyone that's ever bought a house knows then at closing, suddenly you need all this other cash, closing costs, right? This fee, this surcharge, that surcharge. And that's a lot less fun unless you go to Miller Lending and get what they call a no-cost loan. It is a no closing cost, no third-party fees. No means no, zero means zero at Miller Lending. None of that cash out of your pocket surprises at closing. You simply get ready to pay your monthly rate, your monthly payment. And even better, if rates drop. I can't predict mortgage rates, interest rates. I don't know many people, if any, out there that can. But if they drop sometime in the near future, refinance. There's no cost to you. Again, you just get the lower monthly rate, the lower monthly payment. For more information, to learn more about how this all works, Miller Lending would love to have a conversation. Locally owned, by the way, right here in Cary. So when you call, you're talking to someone local. 919-443-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. What do we have next? We have the Dean's List, and UNC basketball has a problem. They officially have a public perception problem. I'll tell you what the problem is coming up next.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum, and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet.
You get a lease, you get it Wi-Fi.
Yes,
immediately.
We need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Tuesday, June 24th at Bank of America Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Benfica and Bayern Munich. Angel Di Maria and Nicolas Otamendi taking on Harry Kane and Joshua Kimmich. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
Celebrate 50 years of adventure at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Enjoy award-winning performances and European-inspired attractions. Feel the excitement of thrilling rides like the all-new Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge, now open. And seasonal events like the Food and Wine Festival, where you can taste, sip, and savor more than 150 flavors from around the world, featuring over 80 new menu items. Only at the world's most beautiful theme park. Get limited time deals at buschgardens.com.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code GREEN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code GREEN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code GREEN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summer's heat up, and so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough. in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with Energy Smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited-time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Tar Heels the other way. Trimble in the left corner offensively. Gets into the paint, kicks it in the corner to Withers. Extra pass to an open Ian Jackson. Heels need it, and they get it for 3.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, Graham has promised us that there is a theme for the music today coming out of break. We've gone from, Dire Straits to Kenny Chesney. A
big jump.
I don't know how. I mean, what could they all be in the theme? We'll have to stick around to find out. Next up, it's going to be like Andrea Bocelli or something.
But I can go ahead and reveal it. Dire Straits had nothing to do with the theme, just for that segment that we were talking about.
Okay, well then that makes it easier.
In honor of the U.S. Open this weekend coming up, happy Father's Day, everybody. As you can see, I have my U.S. Open polo that I got from Pinehurst #2 last year. What a fun time that was.
Yeah,
and we are going to play songs that are all related to the USA in honor of the U.S. Open.
All right, so the Dire Straits was just to throw us off the scent.
Correct.
All right, that works. U.S. Open should be another good one. Oakmont apparently is showing its teeth, ready to make really good golfers look really bad, which is what the U.S. Open should do. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the Dean's List. Let's go ahead and put class in session. Dean's List, where we highlight those in the college sports world, somehow related to college sports, that deserve a little extra attention, a little extra praise. This is intentionally put. First Dean's List member, Jake Hyde, Duke baseball first baseman. He hit a home run in their potential the deciding game that they were trying to send themselves to Omaha. They lost the game. Murray State punched their ticket to Omaha. It was a really rough one for the ACC as a whole. But hey, Jake Hyde hit a home run, so we're going with Jake Hyde. That's me just trying to find, you got to look for the silver lining. I do think, and we're going to have the conversation later about the College Baseball World Series and the ACC and their struggles, and Duke and UNC, and Duke lost their coach today, Chris Pollard, hired by UVA. I do think it's a little unfair, and we are kind of doing it, but I think if we acknowledge it, it makes it less bad. It's kind of like saying no offense before insulting someone.
Yeah.
It's like I said no offense. I do think it's a little unfair that so many fans and shows like ours don't really talk about college baseball for when UNC and Duke were having great seasons, right? When they were winning, when UNC was working their way into a top 5 final ranking, Duke was having one of the best seasons in school history. We were kind of quiet on it because Canes were going on, and this was going on, and that was going on. And then once they make it to the postseason, we're like, all right, let's go. They lose, and we have no choice but to go, Duke had a lead in the closeout game going into the 7th inning. They couldn't hold it. Where'd the bats go? What happened here? What happened? Murray State. And it's like, I don't know. It's just, if you're not highlighting the good, it feels kind of gross to talk about the bad. Or same with UNC, right? Like, they had a great season, and then now we're just going, they won the first game 18-2 and then lost the 3-game series in the next 2 games. Brutal. But we weren't talking about, when their pitchers were lighting it up to start the season.
What did Daravat say? Parachute fans?
Yeah, exactly.
Parachute fans that just come in during the NCAA postseason.
It does feel like that, but if we parachuted in and they just had good, then we could just no one minds, and it's all positive. But if it's I don't know, it just feels kind of icky. So Jake Hyde hit a home run is what I'm focusing on. So we're not parachuting fans that are only talking about the bad. Also, Dean's List, parity in college baseball. 7 different conferences are represented in the final 8 teams.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That is the definition of anyone can win any year.
I want to say this is the first time maybe this has happened in the College World Series. You might have to check behind me on that.
I have a different stat that's the first time it's happened in a long time. For the first time since 1957, all 8 teams in the College World Series were not there last year. It is a completely fresh 8 teams in Omaha from last year to this year. First time that's happened since 1957.
Coastal Carolina was the team that was prior, or was there this
He'd been there
season
in
prior. Yeah,
long time. But that's again parity. So you have 7 different conferences, 8 brand new teams. College baseball, if you believe that the goal of sports, right? Because you hear this is why the draft happens. This is why the lottery happens. This is why salary caps exist, is because you want every team to have a chance to win. You want parity across the league. If that is the goal, college baseball may be the ones doing it best. College baseball may be the ones that end up doing it best. Do you have some Dean's List members you'd like to throw in here, Graham?
I do. From the
Go ahead.
baseball field to the pitch, I'm going to stick with 2 North Carolina natives who were at the center of attention after the U.S. women's team won their second straight crown at the soccer tournament last night at WakeMed Soccer Park. North Carolina native, NBA star and the soccer tournament founder, Chris Paul handed the U.S. women label to UNC women's soccer legend Heather O'Reilly in a ruckus celebration as the team posed with that $1 million check. So shout out to Chris Paul, shout out to Heather O'Reilly, North Carolina stand up, and then, of course, just to fit the theme of the rejoin music, USA, 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 getting it done at the soccer tournament again last night.
First of all, it's awesome that all those legends, right? Carly Lloyd, Heather O'Reilly, even some of the younger players put together that team and do it because, I mean, imagine you're just, a celebrity-led team or you're just a team trying to get in the mix and you get to play against legends. That's cool. Secondly, I mean, what do you expect? You get a U.S. women's national team legends roster. Yeah, I would assume they're going to be pretty good. They're pretty tough to beat. And then Chris Paul does so much for like youth sports and other sports, his AAU and everything. Obviously he's made a ton of money. Sports have been pretty good to him. But he definitely pays it back to like not just our community, but LA where he spent a lot of time and kind of everywhere he goes. So shout out. I'll put Chris Paul on the Dean's List. Shout out to Wake Forest.
Wake Forest might need to be calling him for a little NIL donation or something.
My guess is he's
Chris, I hear you're feeling very generous lately. Well, how about giving back to the Golden Deeks or the Demon Deeks? Sorry, Dylan, if I just messed up
Golden Deeks,
the booster's name.
What is it? Roll the Quad, right? That's their deal.
That's what it is.
Do you know what I think is going to be the next deal? Is getting like endowments where you put together a bananas amount of money, and then the team gets to like spend the interest every year or spend the investment profits every year. Like I don't know what Chris Paul's net worth is. It's got to be over $200 million. Like he's got to have money. Granted, I don't know if he wants to take a large chunk of that and give it away. But if he does, Wake Forest will accept. More Dean's List quickly here. Con Knipple. I don't know. This is a frustrating one with me. Credit to Con for doing it. The Athletics' latest NBA draft big board came out. He's up to number 3 on their best players.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. And I'm somebody that is like as nerdy as it comes when it comes to the draft stuff. I have no idea what changes the month before a draft to change rankings. Like, even if he's working out really well in like individual workouts, I'm going like, we just watched him play at Duke.
Yeah.
He played against Kansas, Kentucky. He played against, the entire ACC. He played in huge games on their way to the Final Four. What could he show you in a workout that would,
they didn't know already, yeah.
He can shoot. It's like, what? I just don't know. And it happens every year for multiple different players, rising and falling. And I'm going like, I don't know. I'm confused. But somehow he's worked his way up to number 3 on the Athletics big board, which I don't think he'll go that high. But I think if you're 3, according to some insiders, there's a better chance you go top 10, right? I think he probably falls in the 7 to 9 range, and maybe it'll be a steal. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's the Dean's List. Let's go ahead and dismiss class. I didn't intentionally do this. I don't usually order the Dean's List in like 1, 2, 3, 4. I just kind of have them bullet points, and I grab them as the conversation sees fit. I did not mean to go directly from a Duke basketball player rising their NBA draft stock into a UNC basketball problem with their NBA evaluations. But if the shoe fits, it kind of, you got to wear it. It makes sense. UNC basketball has a perception problem. I still hesitate to say the problem is tangible, like it's actually there, but that almost doesn't matter because if everyone believes it is, then that's a problem, right? If you have a restaurant and you make delicious food, but everybody in the world thinks your food gets people sick, it doesn't matter how delicious your food is. People aren't going to walk in that door because they think it's going to make them sick. Perception is reality. Ian Jackson, 5-star, top 10 recruit in the country, played his freshman year this past year at UNC. Had a stretch where he scored 25 on average through like 7 games in the middle of the season. Other than that, off the bench, his usage fluctuated up and down greatly. Didn't get to play a ton towards the end. Ian Jackson transferred, hit the portal, St. John's. As soon as he hit the portal, everybody knew he was going to St. John's. Rick Pitino wanted him. He's from that part of the country. He's from New York. It all made sense. Ian Jackson also has a YouTube show. How 2025 is this? It's called The Captain Jack Show, which is kind of his nickname. And on that show, he talked about his experience at Carolina, and alarms started going off for Tar Heel fans, or at least they should have. Here's Ian Jackson on his Captain Jack Show.
I feel like at Carolina, shout out to those guys, though, too. Great people, not embarrassing. But I feel like at Carolina, it wasn't for me. It was some things that I couldn't show or I couldn't do on the floor that I felt like I could have done. But, it was a step in the it's a journey, it's a journey. Right? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So, yeah, bro, just different opportunity.
There's that part in the middle that I'm going to focus on. But it was nice of him, by the way, to say, like, the people were great. Shout out to him. Like, this isn't him saying, like, I hated life.
Yeah, didn't go full-blown, like, bulletin board material in Carolina athletics.
But this is the quote. It was some things I couldn't show, I couldn't do on the floor that I feel like I could have done. That is an issue. Now, if that's a one-off, that's a disgruntled former player, that's somebody that bummed out that it didn't work out and he's not going to, get his jersey in the rafters next to Jordan, that's one thing. But pair that with what Drake Powell said at the NBA Combine, and I have that quote here for you. Drake Powell, another 5-star freshman that spent this past year at UNC, he didn't hit the transfer portal, he hit the NBA draft. And what he had to say was this: I feel like I'm the same two-way player that I was coming into college. Obviously, I don't think I got to showcase that at UNC, but the potential is still there. I'm ready to learn as much as I can and continue to grow. That's 2 separate high 5-stars, who, by the way, high 5-stars, they're expecting, like, I'm going to have the option to go pro very, very quickly. Obviously, Ian Jackson not going pro. Drake Powell is going pro, but if again, talking about those NBA big boards, he is the 31st best prospect on ESPN's prospect rankings. He is the 34th on the latest edition of the Athletics prospect rankings. So he is a borderline first, second-round pick, according to those insiders. You can take it with a grain of salt if you agree or not agree with them. That's what ESPN and the Athletic are saying. That's an issue. That's an issue. That multiple very, very talented players, McDonald's All-Americans, the crown jewels of their recruiting class, had 1 year at UNC, and both of them are saying, I wasn't able to show what I can do at UNC. Now, yes, this is a different world. If this were 1941, who cares if you can show what you can do? It's about winning. It's about sacrificing for the team. It's about doing what the team needs you to do. Ask not what the team can do for you, but ask what you can do for the team. I went a little John F. Kennedy there. My point is, if very, very highly rated prospects think if they go to UNC, they won't be able to have a bit of a personal showcase. They won't be able to show the NBA what they can do. They won't be able to show the world what they can do. They're going to stop going to UNC. By the way, whether it is true or not, you might say, hey, Ian Jackson wasn't that good or Drake Powell wasn't that good. You may say that, and I'm not saying you're wrong, right? It's actually hard to tell how good they were because their roles were not super big this past year. Their usage was not super heavy this past year, right? It's a chicken or the egg. Maybe their usage was low because they're not that good, and the coaches looked at it and said, you're not that good, your usage is going to be low. Maybe their usage was low, and despite them being good, they didn't get to show they were good. It's a chicken or the egg. I'm not here to say what's true and what's not. I'm here to say it doesn't matter what's true and what's not. Because if other prospects think if you go to UNC, you won't be able to show yourself, you won't be able to build your pro prospects, they won't go.
It's all about that national footprint, right, that you think of when you see the UNC basketball logo, especially the Jordan logo specifically. You want people to think of that when it comes to recruiting, not, oh, Ian Jackson, Drake Powell, two guys that are now playing the NBA, said that they couldn't develop well and during their time there.
And athletes listen to athletes more than anybody. Right? It's why it's so important to have a great relationship with your alumni. It's why it's so important when if you're a high school coach out there, get a college player to come back and talk to your team, because you can sit there and say it as a coach a million different ways. You need to work hard. You need to eat right. You need to do this. You need to show up for workouts. But if the college player who's living the dream of these high school players comes back and says, this is what you need to do, they will hear it more. Ian Jackson and Drake Powell were the cool older guys in Team USA when they were on the U17 team, and the other great prospects were on the U15 team. They were looking up to those guys. If they say, I don't know, I didn't get to show what I can do at UNC, they're not going to go. And again, I didn't intentionally do this to talking about Con Knippel rising up draft boards in the Dean's List and going right into this thing, but Duke and UNC are always going to be compared, right? They're joined by history and geography and success. They're joined in a billion different ways. Con Knippel showed up and his NBA draft stock went up. Kaman Malawa showed up and his NBA draft stock went up. Obviously, Cooper Flagg showed up with the highest of draft stocks, and it kind of stayed there. But then Jackson and Powell goes the other direction. If you don't fix it, it's going to continue to be an issue. And there are ways that a healthy program, a healthy program can have individual goals as well, right? I remember it was a big deal when Kentucky under John Calipari, and we're talking right at the early parts, started having a pro day. They started having a day where all the scouts could come and they would put their players through drills, and even players with eligibility left. Right? It wasn't just the graduating seniors. They would let everybody come through, and they would put almost like a combine together because they recognized that there could be an I scratch your back, you scratch my back situation. Right? Calipari was saying, while you're on campus, let's try to win a national championship. I get paid off that. Also, while you're here, I'll get you ready for the NBA. You get paid off that. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. It can't be one-way transactions. Ian Jackson saying there were some things I couldn't show on the floor at UNC, and Drake Powell saying I didn't get to showcase the things I can do at UNC. That's now two's an issue. Two is an issue. Now, it might not be an issue if that's not your goal. And what I mean by that is if your goal is to go find a bunch of 3 and 4 stars that you want to be on campus for 4 years and you want to develop them and you want them to be great college players and you're not chasing the super duper top end unbelievable NBA talent, cool, right? That's one way to handle it, right? I'll use this example. UVA under Tony Bennett. Guess who was never going to commit to UVA under Tony Bennett? Somebody that scored 35 points per game in high school. Because if you were an up and down, want to score a lot, they're going to try to make every game 49-53. It's just not going to line up. But that never bothered Tony Bennett because he was going, I don't want score. If you have to score 35 points a game, I don't want you because you don't fit what I do. I just find it difficult that UNC doesn't want the 5 stars. Right? And why wouldn't they? They can go get them. They have the money, right? We talked about Inside Carolina's report, what was it, last week, that their roster budget was up to $14 million. They have the money. They have the street cred for being Carolina, for having Jordan and Vince Carter and Antoine Jameson and Rasheed Wallace and on and on and on. And Kenny the Jet Smith, who, by the way, is super famous, and he's on ESPN all the time now, and he was on TNT. Like, they have the street cred. And I don't know why I picked those 5. I could have mentioned 100 other alum for UNC. But you have to nip this in the bud. You can't have these conversations going on in AAU gyms all across the country. Ian Jackson and Drake Powell were 2 of the stars, right? If you're an AAU coach, you see Ian Jackson, tear up the EYBL circuit or the Peach Jam or whatever the big AAU tournaments are, and guess what you're talking about now? Man, did you see what UNC did to Jackson? Now, I saw him put up 40 and blah, 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 and I saw him roast so-and-so in a game 2 years ago. I saw him do all this stuff. He went to UNC. He was coming off the bench. You see what UNC's doing? I don't know. I'm not sending my point guards there. And they're talking about it because that's what you do. College basketball, or AAU basketball especially, nationwide, right? Worldwide. Small world, right? It is a small world. The elite teams talk. This is where Hubert Davis, again, nip it in the bud, right? When you first call a recruit, we're going to get you ready for the NBA. I promise you. I played, if I'm Hubert, I'm saying I played, whatever it was, like 15 years in the league. I know how to get there. I've got friends. You got to get that out of your mouth first. First thing. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here before we move on for Maynard Services. We're talking Maynard Service Company. I talked to their owner, Brett, not long ago. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric. By the way, if you're unfamiliar with Maynard Service Company, they do it all. Yeah, I know you've seen their trucks out and about in the area. But I was talking with their owner, Brett, and the coolest part about Maynard Service Company, coolest, see what I did there? They fix your cooling systems. The coolest part about Maynard Service Company is their involvement in the community. I say this all the time. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your house. So when something goes wrong, they know exactly what is happening before they get there. Right? They know what model your AC unit is. They know, the way your builder put in that one pipe to get your upstairs bathroom a little bit funny. Like, they know all of that. So when something goes wrong, there's no education, right? There's no research. They just show up ready to work. It's why getting them a call for some cooling maintenance so they get to know your system is important. It's why calling them for everything, right? Electric, plumbing, cooling, heating. Let them get to know your house. And then you got a guy, right? Everybody likes to have a guy. And I'm not saying like a man. I'm saying, hey, something's going wrong in your house? Oh, let me call my guy. They do great work. Well, let me call the company that I know. They do great work. Here's the number, right? It's very community-based, very word of mouth. I'm passing it along to you. You can pass it along to everybody else, and they will not regret it. The number to call is 919-361-0993. You got something going on in your house? Oh, let me call my people. 919-361-0993. They'll take care of you. You can check them out online, MaynardServices.com, MAYNOR Services.com. We have football at 4 coming up next. Bill Belichick. He spoke to the media. We have the audio. Stick around.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins. Quote, if the Yankees were the last team to give me a contract, I'd retire.
I respect it.
I feel the same way. If this show didn't make it and the only job I could get in media was as the Rams team reporter, I would become a barista.
I love it, Smalls. I love it.
Before I would ever take a check from those people.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again.
Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's Bo time.
There's no time like Bo time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken. With Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's Bo time.
What sounds like a fun weekend?
Hey, let's take the dogs hiking.
What does not sound like a fun weekend?
Let's dig out all the paint supplies and go ahead and start bickering while we're trapped in a room with paint fumes.
Preserve your weekend, your home, and investment, and call Preserve Services instead. Our Preserve team excels in interior and exterior painting and home repairs. We're your one-stop shop in the Triangle for jobs you need done, but don't want to tackle. And get this, you don't pay a penny until the job's done. Schedule today at preserveservices.com.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Richie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at richielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. High temperatures in the mid-80s because of more cloud cover today than we saw yesterday. We also have a chance of some evening thunderstorms. A lot of those will dissipate as they move into our area, but we do have a level 1 risk of severe storms with the wind damage being the biggest threat. 67 tonight, and then tomorrow's a hot day. A high of 90. It'll be humid under partly cloudy skies.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones up 105 points at 42,866.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Bill Belichick. The gift that keeps on giving for the off-season in sports. Will we be talking about his romantic life? Will we be talking about his contract? Will we be talking about football? Will we be talking about his former players? Will we be talking about the transfer portal?
Don't forget about the book.
Will we be talking about his book? Will we be talking about his I mean, we could just keep going on. I don't know why I had to say it in that voice. Will we be talking about his life? Yes, in some form or fashion. He spoke to the media today. He had a media availability, a couple of players, kind of an off-season checkup, which I think if I were running a program, I would do more often, right? I don't want people poking around. I want to present the program. So you had a media availability, and we have the audio for you in a handful of clips. If you want the entirety of it, by the way, it was streamed live on WRAL.com. Our colleagues over there had the full video, so if you want to go check it out, you can check it out. Let's start with how Bill Belichick is able to keep players focused with his personal life being so involved in everything. Here's Belichick.
She doesn't have any role in the UNC football program. But again, there's been, noise out there about a lot of different things. Again, our focus is, day to day, getting better, stacking good days together, having good rest, recovery, and training, moving forward the next day. And from the coaching staff to focus on, how do we help our team get better? That's my job. That's our staff's job, is to put a good plan in place so that they can, if they do the work, that they see the improvement. And so, that's what our job is.
Here's the part that's shifty. Is that the right word? Saying she's not a part of UNC football is true. It also doesn't mean that people that are a part of UNC football aren't distracted by it or talking about it or interested by it. And I also want to point this out. I've been a college football player, not at the level of UNC, but I've been a college football player in the sense that the most important thing in my day-to-day life was football, right? And I went to school and I was doing the school thing and I was academically doing all right. So I wasn't pushing other priorities aside, but if I had extra time, I was spending it on football. So even though it was a lower level, it was FCS. I was playing at the University of Delaware. I treated it like it was the NFL. I don't care what I knew about the head coach's personal life. 0.0% chance was I letting the coach know that I was interested in it. Right? If the coach had everything going on with Bill Belichick, right? If he had, I don't know, my coach wasn't as old as Belichick, but if he had a young girlfriend that everybody was talking about, if, he would go, Tim doesn't care at all. He hasn't brought it up to me once. We've never once even referenced it. And I'd be going, yup, never going to bring it up with you, coach. That doesn't mean we wouldn't be talking about it in the locker room. That doesn't mean we wouldn't have been talking about it walking around campus. When coach is around, I don't even know what you're talking about, coach. Didn't see any of it.
I have a theory for you, Tim, and this is more for us speaking. What if Bill Belichick has us right where he wants them in terms of media members, but also fans outside the UNC football program, in terms of if the only negative press that's coming out of Carolina football's camp right now is just about Jordan Hudson, there's no telling how much talent they have on that roster right now and what they could do once this season begins.
You think he's playing 3D chess and we're playing tic-tac-toe?
Exactly.
He's going...
He's outsmarting us.
He's the magician right now going, look over here, look over here, look over here. Meanwhile, his other hand is doing all of the magic on the other side.
Meanwhile, Gio Lopez, Bryce Baker, and Max Johnson are just dueling it out right now on the field for that starting quarterback position.
Maybe. It would be a new move, right? Belichick had never done that in the past, right? It's not like on to Cincinnati. Was to distract us from Tom Brady is awesome. But maybe. I mean, if he's really, and maybe that's what the 24-year-old is teaching him. Hey, you can use the media. Maybe that's it. I'd be very surprised.
Am I dumb for thinking that?
I'd be very surprised if all of this was that coordinated. Because I can't.
I mean, we're talking about a guy that also was a part of a big Super Bowl scandal too. I'm not. Well, I don't know how involved he was, but I'm not putting it past him to throw up smoke screens.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's throwing up. I think more likely he would just say our roster's not where it needs to be, and we need to get better. Meanwhile, he might have loved his roster. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not going to say you're wrong because there's nothing that has happened since Bill Belichick took the job that I would have been able to predict. So I would have said all of this would have been surprising. So what you're saying, I would be surprised, but it would just be, the 15th consecutive thing that surprised me. But let's talk football, right? Because that's what Belichick wants. That's what we want, if we're being honest. At least what I want, if we're being honest. And their quarterback position is fascinating. Max Johnson is not Belichick's guy, meaning he wasn't recruited by Max Johnson, but I do think he's kind of Bill Belichick's guy in that Bill Belichick likes grinders, and he likes guys that, battle back and overcome adversity. So Max Johnson was the starter last year for UNC, blew out his leg in the very first game at Minnesota, and has been diligently rehabbing, been following it on social media. Belichick was asked about Max Johnson's rehab progress.
So Max is doing very well. His rehab has been long, and I have a lot of admiration for him. I mean, it was a tough injury, but nobody's worked harder than he has, and he certainly is able to do a lot more than he was last spring. So we'll see exactly where he is when things start, but it's a whole lot closer, and we certainly expect to see him out there. So it's been very encouraging.
There's an update on the injury progress. I notice, I don't think they're banking on him being the starter. Why? Because they brought in Gio Lopez, a transfer reportedly for around $2 million. Those are reports not confirmed. Belichick was asked about Gio Lopez's progress, obviously not back from injury, but from taking over a new offense and starting at a new school.
It was really productive at South Alabama. He's a dual threat quarterback. He's had plenty of, production yardage, both the running game and the passing game experience. Tough kid, played well against some, good competition, teams like LSU. Looks like he's definitely ready for this level, and we're excited to work with him as we are with everybody else. So, we've got some freshmen, we've got Max, got some experience, and Gio. So, we'll see how it all plays out. Honestly, none of them, with the exception of Max, for a handful of plays last year, none of them really taken any snaps here. So it'll be. It'll be good to see how all that plays out.
I mean, that is true. Max only played 3 quarters in that season opener?
In the rain, and it wasn't necessarily going well. And there was a lot of handoffs to Omari and Hampton. That's about as Belichick has sounded since he's been the head coach at UNC.
You know what? I love it. I'm taking the headphones off. I love this much football talk that we've gotten regarding Bill Belichick so far. This is what I've been fiending for.
I would have expected 100% of that when he took the job. Obviously, we've gotten very little of that since he took the job, and instead we've gotten everything else. But we didn't learn anything there, right? Gio Lopez, he was good at South Alabama. Yeah, we see the stats. It's him and it's Max and it's a couple freshmen. All right, we can look at the roster. And not many of these guys, well, just Max a little bit. None of them have played snaps. Yep, we're aware. But that's Belichick, right? He tells us nothing. That's what he does to the media. Let's see if we can get a little bit of information out of him. He was asked what he feels the strength of the team, his team, the Tar Heels, will be this season.
I think we're just going to have to evaluate that as we go. We'll have a lot better idea in training camp. Again, there were several players that left the team after spring ball, and then we have a lot of new ones, a lot of new faces, both incoming freshmen and players who came from transfers. And so we'll just have to see how all that plays out. I think where we were then and honestly where we are even today is we're at a different spot. So, it'll be interesting to see how it all comes together. We got a lot of work to do, but it's certainly trending in the right direction. We've had good leadership from, again, some of the guys that have come in here, some of the people that you'll hear from later on. Those guys have done a great job of setting the pace. And encouraging the guys to come along and put in the work, and we've had really good results from our physical training and the team building as well. So long way to go, but feel like we're on the right track.
That's There's nothing there.
I love how in that
nothing.
I love how in that 58-second soundbite we saw proof of what Bill Belichick has been able to master during his time in the NFL, which is saying so much without saying nothing at all.
I would say a lot of times he doesn't even say a lot. He just says nothing, and it's short. There's nothing there. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. I'm not saying it like he owes us more. I'm saying the goal of that answer was to say nothing. And also, he probably gains nothing by giving us a real answer. Our strength's going to be the defensive backs. Our strength's going to be the offensive line. Because then if they struggle for the first 2 games, you put an undue pressure on them. There's the most frustrating thing about the way Belichick or Greg Popovich or any of these kind of notoriously curmudgeon-y with the media coaches, the most frustrating part about it is it makes sense. There's good reason to handle the media that way. There's usually very little gained by, willingly giving up information to the media. Now, that makes our job more difficult, but his job's not to make my job easy, right?
At least it's entertaining.
If you do, I think that's why, to use Popovich as an example, the ridiculous answers during those little sideline interviews where he's just like, no, and he runs away. I think part of that was he knew he wasn't going to say anything. He knew he wasn't going to give up any insight. He knew he wasn't going to give us anything of note or substance. So he might as well give us something to chuckle at and fill the 45 seconds of the timeout. I don't think Belichick necessarily thinks like that. I think he's just like, I'm not going to give you anything. What's our strength? Well, we're going to have to evaluate. We got new players. We got 4 new players. We got a transfer portal. We got quarterbacks. We got new coaches. We got a facility. There's nothing there.
I mean, at least he's not setting unrealistic expectations prior to the season, like you mentioned. Yeah, they could start off 4-0, and he could have said like, yeah, the defensive backs, like you mentioned, or running back groups is going to pick right up where Maureen Hampton left off. Instead, he's like, well, we have a brand new roster. I mean, we have 4 stars and 5 stars, but North Carolina football fans have seen how that's gone in the past. So
there you go. That's how it goes here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. That's football at 4. We have the Ladder Challenge coming up, and the Canes, the Carolina Hurricanes at the trade deadline, almost pulled off a blockbuster bigger than many of us could have imagined. What was the holdup? Stick around.
Hey, folks, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year, folks. I love getting back out on the motorcycle. I love enjoying the open road, especially when it's nice outside. But I have to make sure, before I even get on the motorcycle, that everything is where it needs to be. Is my bike in proper working order? Is the tire pressure where it needs to be? Have I cleaned my bike recently? Believe it or not, cleaning your motorcycle is one of the best things you can do before you even get on the road. Just make sure there's no gunk buildup in your engine and your brakes. Make sure you take care of your bike, because your bike will take care of you. But if you are injured in a motorcycle accident, make sure you call Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies, they want to give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike is worth. They know what your gear is worth. They know what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and they don't get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle injury lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
Move your sports day forward.
It's been a while, but the Carolina Hurricanes won't have to figure out in free agency how to spend the money, but what to spend the money for. Unlike us common folk who probably have to use coupons, General Manager Eric Tulsky will have a different challenge. He's probably going to have to pay over sticker price to build a Stanley Cup winner.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, that'd be great? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
Another checkup?
Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy?
She needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. We're close to crowning a hockey champion, and when I'm not calling playoff games around the country, the first thing I do when I'm back in the Triangle is head to Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet, and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Burns is shot out in front. Oh, scores on the power play. Carolina has even this game at 1. A huge power play goal right when they needed it.
We'll talk about a blockbuster trade that apparently the Canes were on the, in the red zone to finish. Maybe not on the goal line, but they were close at the trade deadline that would have really shaken up the league. But didn't happen. And before we get there, we have to do a few things, like get the ladder challenge rolling. So let's go ahead and fire that bad boy up. Every day about this time, it's me versus whoever's in the producer's chair.
A rotating chair.
Seems to be changing a lot recently. Dennis and I do have an ongoing monthly competition, but he hasn't been on the show recently. So we've been going with mini games for the ladder challenge. Today, the mini game between Graham and I, $10 bets, 3 of them. You can bet anything you want. You can bet a long shot. You can put a parlay together. You can bet a guarantee minus 10,000 bet that'll only win you like 4 cents. You can do whatever you'd like. Whoever has the most money tomorrow, so all the bets have to take place before the show tomorrow, is the winner. All 3 bets eligible. Graham, let's go 1 for 1. You then me, then you then me.
Okay. I'll start off. I'm gonna go all MLB today since there's really nothing else going on tonight.
I'm all MLB from somebody that has not watched much MLB. So this is all very
I'm right there with you.
Very surface level, but I will explain how I got to each of my bets.
I'm gonna keep the theme hometown though. So all my bets are gonna relate to the state of North Carolina, starting with the Oakland A's versus the LA Angels. Give me the A's money line plus 128. Mitch Spence, Green Hope High School alum located in Cary, is star on the mound. Little West Coast flavor for you, Tim, but it still has some hometown feel for you. With Mitch Spence getting the start on the bump, as well as Nick Kurtz, a former Wake Forest first baseman, also starting tonight for the A's. So A's money line plus 128 is how I'm starting things off.
So I also am going to the A's-Angels game. I'm taking the under. The over-under was set at 9 this morning. I am taking the under at minus 110. And here's why. Denzel Clark is in center field for the A's.
Okay.
Have you seen this guy's catches?
They were talking about this more on Clinton and Friends.
He has, I think he's played like 16 games. He has the 3rd most of any outfielder runs saved above expected or some kind of crazy advanced analytic. He jumped over I don't even know how to describe it, over the wall to rob a home run that was 5 feet above the center field wall. Made the catch, fell back into the field of play, and then did it again the next week. This dude is, first of all, playing the wrong sport. He is an ex-wide receiver if I've ever seen one. And as a former football player, come on, man. But he'll make more money playing baseball probably. That is got to be worth like taking a runaway, right? He's just going to catch everything in center field. Give me the under 9 minus 110.
He can just get a bet on that for him to make a ridiculous play in center field or a ridiculous catch.
There will be no home runs to center field when he is in the field. It's minus
180.
I don't understand it. It's unbelievable.
My next one, Chicago Cubs versus Philadelphia Phillies. Sorry to Victoria, the producer of the Adam Gold Show, which you can listen to right before us. She's a big Cubs fan. I got to take Trey Turner to record a single. Minus 160, former NC State baseball legend. Speaks for itself. And for some reason, this particular bet for Trey Turner has hit in 4 of his last 4 games versus the Cubs.
All right, so you're going. There's some history there. He's a beast, by the way. My next bet: Marlins versus Pirates. I'm taking the under 8.5. The Marlins stink. The Pirates stink. I just keep hearing about how, like, when Paul Skeens is on the mound, he holds the other team to 2 runs and over 8 innings, or
then he's like taken out
1 run over 7 2/3, and then he loses like 3-1, which means the Pirates batting lineup stinks. Thus, give me the under 8.5. Marlins stink, Pirates stink. It's -119. It would turn my $10 into $18.40, including stake. So 2 unders to get it started. I know it's not the most fun betting in the world, but it's what I'm going to do. What's your last one?
My last one going to the Washington Nationals versus New York Mets. Sorry to Adam Gold, who's a Mets fan, and you as well, Tim.
I am.
Mackenzie Gore, who's getting the start on the bump tonight for the Nationals, over 6.5 strikeouts, -106. Former Whiteville Wolfpack High School standout and former North Carolina Gatorade Player of the Year. So all North Carolina ties for my bets tonight.
So you're betting everything.
It's the North
local.
Carolina parlay in the MLB.
Mine's just straight like casual fan stuff. I know like one piece of information about the game, and I'm betting the entire game off of it. Speaking of, give me Max Fried over 6.5 strikeouts for the Yankees versus the Royals. It's +130. Fried is the betting favorite to win the Cy Young. I know that just because I dabble in the gambling world. And if you have the betting favorite to win the Cy Young, you got to be pretty good at striking guys out, right? I don't know if that's true or not. Sounds good.
It sounds good to me.
Give me Fried over 6.5 strikeouts versus the Yankees, for the Yankees versus the Royals. Turn my $10 into $23. There you go. That's our bets. Whoever has the most money, stake plus winnings in total tomorrow is the winner between Graham and I. Graham, may the best ladder challenger win.
Same to you.
No.
Not really, though.
Okay, fine. Never mind. I take back my nice thoughts. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and run into some copper drop, shall we?
Copper Drop, one of my favorite segments on this show, just because it gives me a chance to just throw some hypothetical scenarios at Tim and get his expertise. Did I just phrase that correctly?
Yeah,
Either way, Copper Drop, Tim, the ACC was a letdown in the college baseball super regionals.
Okay, say this again.
Copper Drop, the ACC was a total letdown in the college baseball super regionals.
I don't know how the answer to that question is anything but copping. They went. The hard part is, and it's a tale as old as time. Man, we had some good trash talk on behalf of the ACC.
We did.
They had 5 teams make it into the super regionals. They were guaranteed 1 going to Omaha. Could be as many as 4.
Yep.
Could have been 50% of Omaha. They had more teams in the super regionals than the SEC had, and man, did we let them hear it.
Instead, we just get Louisville.
Instead, they're the one guarantee. It was Louisville versus Miami to go to Omaha. You get Louisville. Nobody else won. 2 teams in the triangle lost. And when you talk trash like that and then don't back it up, you kind of just gotta wear it. You just gotta take one for the team. Man, did they disappoint?
I mean, I don't want to take the credit away from Duke just because they had an outstanding season, got to host their first ever postseason game in program history, but Carolina just felt like the team to win it, right? They just truly did, and with all that firepower, they go up, they win 18-2 in game 1, and then they lose 2 of the 3. It almost reminds me of the 2017 basketball team that lost in the national championship. Like that's how much of a letdown it kind of was for me watching Carolina baseball.
That one was brutal. Also, Duke with the A.J. Garcia thing where he was suspended and then they won game 1. It became like, ooh, look at this, team of destiny. You can't stop them. And then they stopped immediately. It was a really brutal super regional. So whatever that was, I cop it.
Next up, Copper Drop. This new quote-unquote NBA Finals presentation, Tim, just feels like another regular season game in December.
I think I'm different here. So I'm dropping it.
Okay.
I think which is weird because I'm in sports media. When I'm watching a game, I never think about the presentation. I never do. And other people tell me about it, right? I very rarely, if I'm being honest, think about the play-by-play or the color commentator. And some people have such strong feelings on, I love this guy, I don't like this guy. I watch the game like specific. People get mad. Oh, look at ESPN's desk that they brought, and then go look at TNT's desk that they brought. It's so much bigger. It's so much better set. And I'm going like, I don't care what desk they're sitting at. I want to hear them say something interesting. I'm different. I acknowledge that a lot of people want the pomp and circumstance, and they want cool like graphics on the floor, and they want a good halftime show, and they want the pyrotechnics. When I watch the NBA Finals, I'm there to find out who's the best team in the NBA. And as long as I see that, I don't think it downplays anything. So maybe if I was there in person, I'd want a little bit more like, of a circus. But I don't know. I think it's been a interesting NBA Finals.
All right, fair enough. This next one we sort of brought up in our last segment regarding Bill Belichick's June press conference, which you can watch that conversation. It's up on our fans' YouTube channel now, but I'll just go ahead and ask you again. Tim, copper drop. Bill Belichick has the media right where he wants them, with the only negative press regarding UNC football being Jordan Hudson.
I'm dropping. I don't think he has, maybe the first time in his career. Actually, that's not true. There's been other media dust-ups. I think he's still playing a little bit of like public relations rehab, right? I still think he's they hired a new PR guy and they changed their messaging for sure, and there's a bunch of stuff going on there. I find it hard to believe that Bill Belichick, one of the most notoriously private people on the planet, is like, I got you right where I want you, with his private life like on full blast. That's not to say that he is panicking or any stretch. Like I still think the football will be fine, but I don't think this is like all some part of a master plan. No.
3 more for you. Going back to college baseball. Copper drop. The head coaching position at Virginia is a lateral move for Chris Pollard.
Oh, you're setting me up here. I'm dropping. UVA's won a national championship. They've won a national championship. And I'm not insulting Duke. If you look at Duke pre-Chris Pollard, meaning Duke baseball, Pollard leveled them up in a big way.
He did.
Let me put it this way. If a basketball program that had never won a national championship tried to say they were on par or level with UNC, Duke, and State, one of the first things ACC fans would say is, all those 3 have multiple national championships. You're not on their level. So Pollard going to UVA, if you try to say that's a lateral move, the first response is going to be that group over there has a national championship.
But I know we're pro ACC here, right? Being in Raleigh, but he's not leaving for an SEC school, which is quote unquote the powerhouse of college baseball. Virginia just lost their number 1 overall prospect in college baseball. And with Chris Pollard at the helm, like you talked about, Duke baseball has found their identity both locally and nationally, while Virginia baseball, though they have won a national championship, has taken a major step back with their program.
I think, and here's the part that we'll never know. I've covered UVA. I haven't covered their baseball team a ton. I think they invest more. Duke is spending a lot on football. They're spending a lot on basketball, obviously. UVA, baseball is important there. And I'm not saying it's not for Duke. I don't know if it's as important. So again, no disrespect. But I think UVA, from brand awareness, and the other thing that we're never going to know is, like, my guess is he's getting paid more. And my guess is there's a higher commitment to NIL funding. And my guess is there's a higher commitment of revenue share. I don't think Chris Pollard leaves Duke on a whim. I think he loved it there. I think he built something. I think he's proud of what he built at Duke. I think he would have, if everything was equal, seen it through and won the championship at Duke. But this is still life, right? And you still have, like, dollars and cents matter. How much you retire with matters. How, do your grandkids get to go to school for free on grandpa's dime matters. Like, that's all part of the conversation. So I would assume that UVA is making a bigger commitment, or else Chris Pollard wouldn't have left. If it truly was like a hey, we'll give you whatever you're making there, we'll give you the same thing, I don't think he leaves.
2 more or 1 more?
Let's do 1 more.
Final one here. Copper drop. The Carolina Hurricanes will make a move for Sam Bennett this offseason.
Drop. The easiest way to say drop for that is I don't think the Panthers let Sam Bennett hit free agency. I think they will be anxious to get a deal signed with him. And remember, Sam Bennett wasn't always Panther. Sam Bennett has leveled up with the guys around him in Florida. I think he recognizes it. So I think he'll be anxious to sign a deal there and stay with that core. And they could be potentially coming off back-to-back cups. And they'll probably want to go for 3 straight, and he's probably going to want to be a part of that. So I think he'll stay in Florida. I think they might have to move on from Ekblad, but that's a whole other conversation. Either way, I think that's what I'm talking about. Either way, speaking of the Canes, appreciate Graham for running Copper Drop there. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of blockbuster Canes trades, The Athletic dropped like a nugget of information that was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. I saw it during the game yesterday. I don't know if the report came out earlier, but I was watching Stanley Cup Final Game 3, refreshing my Twitter feed, and I see this. Toronto, Carolina, and Vegas almost had a 3-way deal in place. This is back at the trade deadline. Almost had a 3-way deal in place that would have sent Mitch Marner to Vegas and Mikko Rantanen to Toronto. Again, per The Athletic. The deal reportedly fell through because Carolina and Vegas, quote, failed to find the right assets to complete it. I think there's some interesting bits of information we can glean from that. If we assume that is true, my first reaction is Marner was going to Vegas, not Carolina? Can we, again, connect some dots here and say, oh, I can follow the clues. Does Carolina not want Mitch Marner? Because if I see Marner leaving Toronto and Mikko Rantanen, who was on the Carolina Hurricanes at that time, going to Toronto, if Carolina wanted Marner, why would you have to bring in Vegas at all? Why couldn't you just do Marner for Mikko plus whatever you need on either side to make it make sense for everybody? Why would you need to bring Vegas in? Like, why? They're not offering up any of the big studs in the trade. Why would you need to bring Vegas in unless Toronto was saying, we want Mikko, and Carolina was going, okay, what can you offer? And they said Marner, and Carolina said, well, that's not going to, we know. We don't want that. And they go, all right, well, we'll give that to someone else, and we can bring in the third team. Again, I don't have this as a report. I don't have this as an insider, just connecting tea leaves. Why would there be a trade that ends up with Mikko Rantanen in Toronto and Marner doesn't end up in Carolina? That was my first reaction. Because this offseason, everybody's talking about how the Canes should want Marner, right? We've done conversations about it. Marner's the crown jewel of the free agency class. The Canes have all this cap space to spend. Why would they not go get this elite young player to pair with? And we can do all of those conversations. But if the Canes don't want Marner, the Canes just don't want Marner. And I mean, I'm not sure what you would have seen like in the playoffs that would have made you go, I was cool giving him to Vegas at the deadline, but now I want him. Like, he didn't have that kind of second half of the season and didn't have that kind of postseason. Second of all, I keep falling more and more in love with Eric Tulsky, the GM. Eric Tulsky is not going to be pushed around.
Correct. He's not going to bite.
If you are the only team in a 3-team trade not getting the stud young forward, right? Because Vegas would be excited. They're getting Mitch Marner. Toronto would be excited. They're getting Mikko Rantanen. If you're the one not getting the stud, you are the boss, right? You have to make it worth my time if I'm Eric Tulsky. And they didn't do it, so he walked away.
You really don't want to be like the Chicago Blackhawks in that trade that we saw at the deadline between the Hurricanes and the Stars and then the Blackhawks. Or no, excuse me, that was before the deadline.
It's you would be the one getting nickels or dimes when everybody else is getting dollars, right? And if I'm going to give you a dollar bill, you're going to have to give me like $1.50 in change. Okay? I'm not going, you can't give me 10 second-round picks for Mikko Rantanen and act like that's okay. All right, or 10 third-round picks, right? Like, the sum can't just be equal. You're going to have to overpay for me to lose a stud. And if you don't love the payout, bail. And here's why I really like what Tulsky was able to do. Don't just bail. Bail and get a deal done with Dallas. Right? Don't bail and go, I guess we got to keep Mikko. We can't make it work. Bail and get a deal done with Dallas. Great flexibility, great adaptability, great not being precious. There's no mourning. All right, we couldn't get a deal done there. Cool, let's go to Dallas. All right, hey, we're not doing it without Logan Stankoven. Hey, give us these picks. Sure, if they're top 10 protected, because guess what? That means you can't trade the picks in the alternating years either. That is great GMing. It really is. Now, you can you could say you put yourself in this situation by trading for Mikko Rantanen in the first place. Fine. But being able to pivot and adjust, whether you're making good moves, like you always want to judge each individual move by itself, right? It's tempting to go, and we do it here on the show because we're in sports media and we need things to talk about, to go like they traded Martin Necas and Jack Drury and picks, and they got back Logan Stankoven and 2 first-rounders and 2 third-rounders, right? And just to do like eliminate the Mikko part of it and have all these detailed conversations. In actuality, if you look at each deal, if it's not good enough, move on. If it's not good enough, move on. I mean, that is a blockbuster. Toronto, Carolina, and Vegas. 3 playoff teams moving young stars. And you were going to be the one that didn't get the star. So you better be paid a premium for that. And if they're not willing to do it, walk.
The only thing I would have loved to have known in all of this is who would have been the potential player the Hurricanes maybe would have looked at trading in this acquisition.
You think they would have had to send someone else other than Mikko?
Probably. In Vegas.
I think they likely would have just accepted. Like, you get Mikko, you get, I mean, maybe like prospects or draft picks, whatever.
Not one other big player?
Not from the Canes.
Or not a big player, but.
No, I mean, if the Canes are giving up Mikko, which they ended up doing, but like it would have been on everybody else to make it worth our while. That's the way fair. I'm looking at it. And if it's not, I'll walk off, right? If it's not, cool. Like the Mikko Rantanen, as we saw, his value wasn't going up or down based on how he played in Carolina.
Yeah, it was kind of just staying the same.
It's just people saw him as a 28-year-old, 100-point scorer with cup experience. That's what he was. I'll hold him for another week. I'll hold him for another 6 hours. I'll hold him as long as I need to because I'm not going to let you bully me just because you want Mitch Marner, right? And I guess the Canes didn't want Mitch Marner, but then they pivoted and they went and got the deal done with Dallas. It's great GMing. If we assume all the reports are correct, could be something lost in the translation. But hey, what are you going to do? The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Some of you are going to get your moment coming up next. We have a feedback frenzy coming up, and I have given the A-OK to Graham to go find the harsh comments. He asked me if I had thick skin. I have not heard the comments yet, but they're from some of you out there, and I'm looking forward to fighting back. Stick around.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here with my friends over at Loan Pronto. You maxed out on credit cards, maybe struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without even touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Call now to get the conversation started. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Total Wireless is made to totally keep up with you. We have unlimited data that never slows you down, covered by the Verizon 5G network, and all for less than $30 a month when you get 4 lines. And the best part, we give you a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G when you switch to the 5G Unlimited or 5G Plus Unlimited plan. Visit your local Total Wireless store today. Total Wireless, we're totally with you. Actual speeds may vary by location. For data management practices, see TotalWireless.com.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch-off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold, hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Tim Donnelly here, and for this Men's Health Month, we are talking with Dr. Jonathan Chappell, orthopedic sports medicine surgeon from Wake Orthopedics. Doctor, we've now learned that tendon injuries, fractures are a little more common in men. How can they work to prevent those injuries and protect their bones and joints?
Well, we can never completely eliminate these injuries. Certainly they're going to happen in the sports that we play and we enjoy, and it's important to have those sports in our life for mental and physical health. But preventing these injuries comes down, in most cases for men, with the lack of flexibility. So focusing on a stretching program, working on core strengthening, some simple physical therapy exercises, and then things like maintaining a good healthy body weight are really important. So that steady dad bod creep we see in our 30s and 40s, trying to avoid that and maintain your flexibility are probably the biggest issues, I would say.
For more information on men's health this Men's Health Month and around the calendar, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that is wakemed.org.
Hey, friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summer's heat up, and so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with energy-smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
Young under center. Here's the snap. Play fake. Rolling right. Throws back of the end zone. Tommy Tremble. Center cut. Wide open. Touchdown, Carolina.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. I don't know what it says about me, but I'm really looking forward to this segment. Something combative, fight or flight about my personality. So what we're doing is called Feedback Frenzy. We mix these in throughout time to encourage all of you to interact with our social medias, our YouTube page, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Search for it. Basically, the producer, in this case, it's Graham, goes searching through the internet, all of our social medias, YouTube, all those things, looking for feedback, comments, questions, responses to things we've said on air. And they bring their favorite comments, and we react on air. We go back and forth. Again, we want you to be a part of the show. Today, Graham was getting Feedback Frenzy together. We're kind of back-to-back in the cubicles. And he just goes, "Hey, Tim, do you have thick skin?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, some of these are kind of harsh, and I want to give you a chance to respond." And I went, "Bring it. Bring it." So, Graham, hopefully you bring it.
I mean, to be fair, there's only one harsh comment, but I want to give you your chance to defend your right. Fight for your right to party, like the Beastie Boys said.
Darn right.
You got a lot of mixed reactions when we talked last week about what's next for Brent Burns with the Carolina Hurricanes. And I get it. He's a fan guy. I mean, there's the beards, there's the T-shirts in the locker room.
He's one of my favorites.
Correct. So Missy M3 said to you, this guy is a joke. He says, Aho is not a star. KK through the last game. Now Burns must go. What else is he going to say? Tim, I'll give you your opportunity to.
Aho is not a star. KK was
KK through the last game. I guess
it. Okay.
I guess talking about the penalty that he took, which was a really bad penalty.
Yep.
And now Burns must go. In response to your comments,
I'm confused.
About Burns.
I said Burns was going to go.
Yeah, but he's resorting to your previous examples or takes that you've had regarding the Carolina Hurricanes after the season has ended.
So I'm a joke, yet you agree with me on at least the biggest part of that conversation, which is Burns should leave.
He's saying now you're saying Burns must go, which makes you a joke for saying
I got you.
Brent
All right.
Burns
So
must go.
There we go. All right, now I understand. I thought he was saying like Burns must go. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what I said. Aho is a star. I don't know how else to say it. He is a confusing star, and I've been on the record saying that because he doesn't score 40 goals a season. If he did, all of this would everybody would think he's a star. The difference is what the Canes ask their star to do, and the things he is willing to sacrifice in order to prop up his teammates and everything else. Do make it more confusing, right? I wish he had more of a killer instinct. I wish he played every game like he played the first period of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals when he was more aggressive and selfish.
I kind of wish we were back against the wall like in the regular season or when it's going to overtime, like, all right, Aho is about to score this one for
He's
us.
very good in overtime. He scored a bunch of, like, what do you have, 4 or 5 overtime game winners this year? Like, He is I wish he played in non-clutch moments like it were a clutch moment because he gets more aggressive and more selfish in those situations. KK took a really bad penalty. But also, if we know anything about Kotkaniemi, it's occasionally he makes some airhead plays. It's not intentional. So if you're implying that he threw it in any kind of conscious way, it was a bad play. I'm not going to defend him there, but I don't think there was like, hey, this is I've got a trip to Cabo booked for next week. Let me end this one quick. Like, it wasn't that. And Brent Burns must go simply because it's not even he must go. It's every decision is a percentages play. Okay? What are the percentage chances that whatever contract you sign Brent Burns to, he is great all the way through the end? He's in his 40s. It's not insulting to say, I think there's a pretty good chance somebody in their 40s isn't going to be the best athlete. I also, if you watched the whole video, right, which I hope you did, commenter, I like Brent Burns. I think he's an unbelievable penalty killer. I think he was better this year than most people say. I think he is great for the culture. I think all of that is true. And I think you need to move on. All of that can be true at the same time. So thank you for your feedback. Hopefully you don't think I'm a joke. But if you do, hopefully you at least think I'm a joke that you want to listen to every afternoon from 3 to 6.
Let's stay on this Brent Burns one just because this one's a little more down to earth. This comes from Fig.
Okay.
Fig Newton. Fig 180. I wouldn't mind Brent Burns coming back with the understanding that he would be a third pair defenseman.
We've had this conversation. If we could, in a vacuum, bring a player that is as good as Brent Burns back on the contract that I think he will accept and say you are a third pairing, but it's not Brent Burns, I would be interested. But I think there are loyalties that die hard, and that's no disrespect. I think he's a comfort. I think he's a teddy bear that you will grasp when things get tough. And whoever they end up pairing with Slavin, there's going to be a onboarding process. There's going to be an adjustment period.
It's going to be a learning process for sure.
And it's way too tempting to go, they had 4 straight games where they were a little off page. Let's go back to Brent Burns. We know that they're on the same page. And I want to take that option away. And also, this would be minimum, and it makes me be mean. This would be my rule. I want Brent Burns back? Cool. All right, we're bringing Brent Burns back. The second game of the year, he's not playing. I want him in opening day because he's Brent Burns. I want everybody to see him. Second game of the year, he's not playing because I don't want to be making decisions at the end of the year based on a streak. He's played 1 billion straight games. At the end of the season, I don't want to be playing a man down because you want to play him 24 seconds like you did last year just to keep the streak alive. I don't want him when he needs a break because he's in his 40s, even though he's in great condition and he wins the conditioning test. I just think it's time to move on, and I've said my piece.
From the Carolina Hurricanes to the Carolina Panthers, this one relates to our conversation we had about will Tedero McMillan lead the Panthers in receiving yards, and this comment just made me laugh because we talked about it. At Levi 8781 said Xavier Legette needs to. He's out here already a celebrity. In Glorilla's music video going viral at the Kentucky Derbies, he's got to match that energy on the field.
He is a star off the field. I don't even want to say this out loud, but it's reporting that's being done. At minicamp today, he did have his shoe off, and he was being looked at by one of the trainers. Then while I saw that report, and then I came on air, so I haven't been able to see what the update has been or if he put his foot back on, maybe he got retaped. I don't know. Xavier Legette didn't have 500 yards last year. He played in 17 games. I know he's banged up, but who's not during an NFL season? If you're good enough to play, you're good enough to produce. He didn't have 500 yards on an offense that didn't have Tedero McMillan out there taking catches and only had 10 games of Adam Thielen gobbling up targets and only had 3 games of Deontay Johnson really demanding targets. There's a lot of opportunities for him to make plays last year, and he didn't. Tedero McMillan better. And also, he was the 32nd pick in the draft. Tedero McMillan's the 8th. Tedero McMillan better lead the team in receiving yards.
Last one for you, then you got some bills to pay. This is about your conversation about the relationship between Bryce Young and Dave Canales, which you and Dennis had yesterday. This comes from Bandit Man. Lots depends on whether Bryce continues to perform and improve. 1 bad game, I'm sure the coach has his back. 2 bad games, probably still fine. 3, you're going to start to wonder. And 4 more, could like a slide back to the bench. The worst thing when you draft a QB is if he's just bad. The second worst thing is when he isn't consistent. Inconsistency will eventually equate to bad if it goes on too long. This is the year for Bryce.
A lot to break down there. Yes. The thing that will put the biggest strain on a coach to quarterback relationship is bad play. And coaches have to be like, you have to go in knowing I have to make decisions even if it loses me friends. So if you have to bench Bryce, you have to bench Bryce. And even if that means like Bryce doesn't speak glowingly of you in private. Inconsistency eventually is a deal breaker. Like I can't have my quarterback be inconsistent when I'm trying to contend. Early in your career, it's much more important to see flashes of brilliance that become more and more and more often, right? If a rookie quarterback is inconsistent, yeah. You know how a rookie quarterback is inconsistent? You know how you know a rookie quarterback is inconsistent? If they're breathing. If they're on the field, they're going to be inconsistent because they're a rookie, outside of a few very rare exceptions. But if you see that glimpse, they're special. And then if the second year you see more of those glimpses, and the third year you see more of those glimpses, eventually you do need them to put together a full season. I don't know if this is going to be the year for Bryce for that. Keep in mind, he was bad for half a year last year, and then was slightly better, and then was slightly better, and then was slightly better. It's a big year for Bryce, and I'm not putting it as a definite in either direction. I think there's chances he's great, chances he's mediocre, chances he's bad, chances he's a little slightly above average. Like everything is on the table for Bryce. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Speaking of everything on the table, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every brand of watch is on the table when it comes to Father's Day. Bailey's Fine Jewelry and their Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, which is at their Village District location in Raleigh, Daniel Street, is hosting a 2-day Father's Day event this weekend, June 13th and 14th. It is a multi-vendor event, so they will have special selection. They will have vendors, in some cases, in-house to answer questions. We're talking Tissot. We're talking Seiko. We're talking Norcane, which is the official watch of the NHLPA and NHL. John Hardy, John Varvatos men's jewelry, Root & Jones pens, specialty hats from the Social Hat, and more. It is an entire event, which means sweet treats, drinks, snacks. It is a really cool event taking place this weekend. Father's Day, right? I mean, get dad a luxury timepiece? You want to jump to the top of the dad's favorite rankings? Go check out the Norcanes. I promise you, they are awesome watches. Make this Father's Day unforgettable with a watch from the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop. Get dad what he truly wants. And when you're there at the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop, located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, make sure they know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim. We have the starting five coming up next, including a little bit from Bill Belichick. What did he say today? We'll tell you next.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Oh, tasty high note. Oh, hi, don't mind me. I'm practicing my new baritone sax. I just heard PayPal's paying for people's stuff every day for 100 days, and there's $10 million up for grabs. All you have to do is use PayPal checkout online. So there's never been a better time to buy a few things off the old wish list, like this leaf blower. PayPal could pay for your purchase. The Great PayPal Checkout.
No purchase necessary ends July 18th. See official rules at paypal.com/thegreatpaypalcheckout/terms. Participating merchants only must use PayPal Checkout online. Coverage of up to $100 and eligible purchases per card.
Here at Total Wine & More, our amazing selection means you'll always
love what you find.
Dad, what are you doing here?
Just getting a sneak peek at my Father's Day gifts.
I was thinking of getting you this Napa Cabernet.
That's a really nice bottle.
And Total Wine has it at the totally lowest price.
Wow. You always were my favorite.
Thanks, Dad.
I was talking to the Cabernet.
Find what you love what you find. Like the perfect gift for Dad at the perfect price. Only at Total Wine & More.
And drink responsibly. B21.
Tuesday, June 10th, the Mexican national team comes to Chapel Hill, North Carolina to face off against Euro sensation, Turkey. Feel the excitement, experience the intensity, and all the passion. Be there as Mexico and its world stars like Raúl Jiménez, Edson Alvarez, and Santiago Jiménez take on Turkey. Tuesday, June 10th at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. For more information, visit SomosLocales.com.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Ryan Monsine from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Now that it's hot outside, everybody's spending more time outside. And I have noticed that there are people that have gutter issues, whether there's stuff still stuck up there or a gutter hanging off the house. You can help.
Absolutely, Adam. And let me tell you this. If you're looking up and it looks like a garden in your gutters, you need to call the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. We have the gutter helmet, which will keep you from cleaning out the inside of your gutters for as long as you own the home. We can also replace the existing gutters. We can replace any rotten wood. We're a one-stop shop company that can take care of all your home improvement needs, whether it's gutters, windows, siding, doors, roofing. We really can turnkey the whole project and make an easy, comfortable payment through some of our 12-month interest-free financing options. And then you get a lifetime warranty at the end of it all.
12 months interest-free?
You heard that right.
12 months interest-free. AluminumCompany.com.
I'm attorney Brian Richie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at richielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRL meteorologist Mike Mays. Showers and thunderstorms possible through the evening. They still could be strong to severe. We have a level 1 risk for severe weather, 69 the low. Partly cloudy, hotter tomorrow, our high at 91. It's about a 30% chance for an afternoon storm.
Weather update is brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones closes the day up 105 points at 42,886.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, on a Tuesday. It is time, as it always is, right about this time, for the starting five. And also, as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Well, again, on some of the noises out there and, the book and stuff like that, I mean, it is what it is. Those are, that's a personal venture that I entered into when I wasn't in coaching last year. And hopefully that'll be a big purchase on Father's Day. But
a little shameless self-promotion by old Billy B. Billy Belichick. So Bill Belichick, head coach UNC football, you know who he is, had a media availability earlier today, a little press conference. I guess he worked in. We have audio here for you in addition to. But I guess he worked in a little, hey, Father's Day, purchase the book. A little shameless self-plug. I like it. I like that version of Billy Belly.
What is it, The Art of Winning?
There you go. And there's some creative elements to the book. There's storylines, right? And he tells everything he learned from business and everything. But then
he narrates part of it too.
On page 56, all of a sudden he interrupts everything to talk about Lawrence Taylor. And on page 199, I think it is, which was the draft pick that Tom Brady was drafted, he just stops everything and has one page dedicated to Tom Brady. It's like a strange little
my dear friend Tom.
Tom.
When he imagine listen to the audio version of that.
Hey, I'd be fascinated to hear him. Probably put me to sleep at night. His voice, not the book. I'd like to actually read the book, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll get it for Father's Day. Who knows? But Belichick spoke to the media today. In addition to plugging his book, he did have some real conversations. And I'll just give you this. He addressed that it's not his personal life, not a distraction for the players. So we don't have to go down that path. But he did make some football conversations as well. We'll start with the Gio Lopez clip. Gio Lopez, incoming transfer quarterback. I would say the odds-on betting favorite from the outside to be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Tar Heels. And Belichick was asked on Lopez's progress. This is what he had to say.
It was really productive at South Alabama. He's a dual-threat quarterback. He's had plenty of, production yardage, both the running game and the passing game experience. Tough kid, played well against some, good competition, teams like LSU. Looks like he's definitely ready for this level. And, we're excited to work with him, as we are with everybody else. So, we've got some freshmen, we've got Max, got some experience, and Gio. So, we'll see how it all plays out. Honestly, none of them, with the exception of Max, for a handful of plays last year, none of them really taking any snaps here. So, it'll be, it'll be good to see how all that plays out.
So you're telling me there's a chance Max Johnson's start again for Carolina? I'm kidding.
It's above zero, but I think it's Gio Lopez's job to lose. I think Bill Belichick, this is observing, but being a pretty ardent observer for a long time, I think he's infatuated with running quarterbacks. I think he as a defensive mind, and Bill Belichick has an argument for being the best defensive mind in history. As a defensive mind, I think he knows how difficult it is to game plan for a running quarterback.
Yep.
Or even just a more mobile quarterback. Now, obviously, he had Tom Brady, so he never got to be on that side of it. Although, if you recall, he did have that year with Cam Newton up there in New England. I think that there's very much a curiosity with what he could do with it, knowing how he tries to stop him. And you add in that it's college, which means Players have less time to prepare. They also have to go to school, right? It's not a professional situation where you have 16-hour days to get ready for the game plan every week. And players are just less experienced, right? It's easier to, get a game plan put together when you're 29 and been doing this for a long time versus 19 and a year out of, AP Bio in high school or going to homecoming. I think Gio Lopez is kind of him getting to scratch that itch. Him saying, I get to have one of these guys on my side now. I get to have one of these guys that I get to torment defensive coordinators with rather than me being tormented by it. Tormented is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. I think Gio Lopez will get the job, and that's kind of why. That's number 5. Let's jump to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4, all together.
Burns is shot out in front. Oh, scores on the power play. Carolina has even this game at 1. A huge power play goal right when they needed it.
We have a fantastic what-if situation. Reports came out over the last couple of days that the Carolina Hurricanes at the trade deadline, after they had decided, right, they brought in Mikko Rantanen, whatever it was, like 7 weeks before the trade deadline. There was the Four Nations Cup. After they had decided internally that they were likely going to have to trade Mikko Rantanen away, the reports are out there. First one I saw was from The Athletic, that Toronto, Vegas, and Carolina almost had a 3-way deal in place that would have sent Mitch Marner to Vegas and Mikko Rantanen to Toronto. The deal, according to The Athletic, fell through because Carolina and Vegas, quote, failed to find the right assets, close quote, to complete it. Whoa, right? I mean, that's the first thing is, goodness gracious, that's a different world that we're living in.
As if the Carolina Hurricanes season could have gotten any more crazy this past year. Imagine that.
That's big, but also I want to know. And this we'll never know. We'll never find out unless I don't know. You get Eric Tolsky out at a bar, get a couple, truth juices in him. I want to know who he was holding out for. What prospect or what young player from Vegas or Toronto or what pick was what did he want? Because they didn't get the right assets together to complete it. What was his number? Who did he want? Because if you look at the deadline, the trade that did end up happening, right? That sent Mikko Rantanen to Dallas. What did you get back? A bunch of picks and Logan Stankoven, who was awesome, right? I think I actually saw today he finished like 7th or 8th for the Calder, for the Rookie of the Year. And I didn't really think there was a case to be made for him based on what some other guys have done. The other thing is the first trade, right? The first one that brought Mikko Rantanen to Carolina. Obviously, Rantanen was the big centerpiece, but what else happened? You just heard the highlight. Taylor Hall came over from Chicago in a cap situation move. They had Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall was awesome. I know he had some quiet games in the postseason, but I think he fit in. I think he worked really, really well with the Canes, and they re-signed him to a 3-year extension. The Mikko situation is what the Mikko situation was, right? And it's been we've talked about it a ton. It's been relitigated a billion times. The side parts were really well handled, right? The hidden value, like, all right, we need 2 firsts, 2 thirds, and Logan Stankoven. Logan was awesome. All right, we're getting Mikko, and if we can figure it out, we want Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall was awesome. I want to know what assets Eric Tolsky was holding out for, right? Because the pie in the sky was definitely there. All right, Vegas, you get Marner. Toronto, you get Mikko, which is kind of how the deal, at least the leak, was structured. The Canes were asking for something, right? We want this, and him. I want to know who him was. Who made Tolsky walk away? And also, gangster move to walk away. To get that close, if they got close, to get that close from that big of a deal, the adrenaline rush, and then go, you know what, never mind. Pivot to another deal? It's good GMing. My curiosities will likely never be satisfied. What number was that, Graham? 4? Let's head to number 3.
He's onboarding the next couple of days getting acclimated to Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, his offensive line, his teammates, just get a taste of everything before they break for the summer and then report back to training camp. It's just a little sampling. That's all it is. It's Aaron Rodgers orientation the next couple of days.
Mini camps are going on. By the way, I didn't know that Graham was going to lead with an Aaron Rodgers clip from Adam Schefter there. Did you hear the news? Aaron Rodgers got married within the last couple months.
What?
To who? I don't know. That's the reporting out of minicamp in Pittsburgh.
Wonder where his signs are. I wonder if they're the same sign.
Oh, you think they're both like Sagittariuses or whatever?
Or something like that.
What's the plural of Sagittarius? Is it Sagittarii? Every year, and I've already done it once this offseason. I'm going to do it again a billion times. Every year, I preach, do not get caught up in the minicamp hype. Do not get caught up in the minicamp hype. Do not get caught up in the mini. There, and then today, I see one grainy clip passed around social media of a deep ball to Tetaroa McMillan.
And you're thinking, oh.
And I'm like, we're back, baby! Carolina Panthers, championship. Bryce Young to Tetaroa McMillan. It's the new Manning to Harrison.
Or at least over 6.5 wins, hopefully, which is what the line's set at.
No, not that. It's minicamp hype season. 11 wins. No, I'm kidding. You can't get that excited by it. You can't buy into it, but it is so tempting, right? You see your rookie doing a footwork drill through ladders. You're like, those are the fastest feet I've ever seen. Is he on fast forward? And then turns out the players, usually the player is the player that they were in college, and they're a good prospect. They can be good, but it's not because they balled out in minicamp.
See a defensive lineman just pancake the offensive lineman across from him.
With
just
no pads on, and you're like, yes, we have Jonathan Ogden. It happens every year. We all fall for it. I can't, even when my brain is literally, consciously saying, don't get excited, a little part of my heart flutters. A little part is like, did you see the deep ball? Bryce Young's throwing it 10 yards further. It's not true, but it seems like it in that one grainy clip he threw to Tetaroa McMillan.
You're just like, oh my gosh, if you could keep a clean pocket during the regular season, we're so back.
There are two things you can take away from minicamps. Two. None of which are like completion percentage. None of which are players that are in the best shape of their life. Two things. One, attendance.
Yep.
Because for the first time, OTAs, no penalty for not being there unless you have a off-season workout bonus in your contract. There's no financial impact of not showing up for OTAs. Minicamps, you get fined. If you miss all 3 days of minicamps, it's a little over $100,000 that you do not get back. So a player not being there is making a statement of some kind that they believe is worth at least $100,000. Around the league, TJ Watt, Terry McLaurin, Trey Hendrickson, Jonnu Smith, all players that are not at minicamps, at least for day one, which is like a $20,000 fine, and it goes up each day. Attendance matters because for cap purposes, usually once guys are holding out, there's going to be some kind of renegotiation of a contract. Very rarely does a player just get bullied into coming back. Second thing that you can take away is injuries. If a player gets hurt, like mini camps are not Las Vegas, right? What happens in mini camps does not stay in mini camps from an injury. Like you pop an ACL, you're going to have to answer for that before you can get back on the field. So you just I'm trying to think of the best example for this.
You said about the Xavier Legette report.
Xavier Legette
earlier today.
There's some video of him coming up with just the hair wobbly during a drill, and then he takes off his shoe and he's being looked at by a trainer. I don't know how that ended up, so I'm giving you, this is terrible journalism. I'm giving you just the horrendous, harrowing part without giving you the conclusion. But I don't know because I've been on air since I saw the video. I'll put it like this. Everyone out there, hopefully not many of you know what this is like. I've pulled a hamstring pretty bad, okay? The next 6 months after you pop a hammy, every time you watch someone sprint, like if you're watching the 100-meter dash in the Olympics, it's not enjoyable. If you watch the 40-yard dash at the Combine, it's not enjoyable for you because you're just like, don't, because you just feel like you're running so tense, it's just going to pop. That's how I watch all minicamps. All of them.
I have an update on Xavier Legette. Shout out to Vashti Hurd of Carolina Blitz. She did say that Xavier Legette just came back not just came back, but was able to return on the field after being looked at by the trainer. So
beautiful.
There's our journalism for us.
There you go.
Incredible journalism.
We complete the story. If everyone leaves minicamps healthy and you have full attendance, super successful minicamp. I don't care what clips go viral with one-handed catches. As long as everybody leaves healthy and as long as everybody is in attendance, super successful minicamp. That's number 3. Let's hit number 2.
The House settlement, something that we've all kind of been waiting for, and now that that's been handed down, it's quite lengthy and technical, and so, we have people on our staff and lawyers and so forth that are looking at it.
That was Bill Belichick talking about the final court decision that came down over the weekend, that the revenue share that had long been assumed is now officially approved. Schools, the actual schools, can pay players. The actual schools can pay the players that play for their school for that reason. Like, we are paying you to play for us. I said this yesterday, and it's come true already. There are going to be 1 million adjustments to this rule. There are going to be 1 million unforeseen circumstances, consequences, unforeseen effects of this rule, and they are going to have to constantly. This rule is a farm fence. Ready for an analogy, Graham? You know I'm good for an analogy. Early in my career, spent some time in the center of Nebraska. I was talking with a rancher.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
And he owned like acres and acres and acres, right? Cattle, soybean, just acres and acres and acres, as far as the eye could see. And he had a fence. And one day he said, like, I got to go work on the fence, right? I got to go put up some posts or whatever. And I was like, oh, you're getting a new fence? He goes, no, I'm never getting a new fence. I'm always working on the same fence. It's never stopping, right? Because the moment I fix the fence posts over here that are a little bit rotting at the bottom, 1,000 acres in the other direction, there's fence posts that need to be replaced. And the moment that happens, something gnaws through a fence post over here. So he is like, it's never done. He is constantly working on the fence. That is going to be this rule. There's going to be a loophole where an NIL collective wants to pay a team and the third party says no. So they start, because the rule is if an NIL outside of the team paying the players or the school paying the players, if a outside business wants to pay a player for an endorsement, anything over $600 has to be approved. And Dennis Cox yesterday on the show came up with this loophole. Instead of signing one $10,000 endorsement, you'll sign a whole bunch of $599 endorsements, and none of them will have to be approved, and you'll just get the money, and who cares about the scrutiny? Okay, they'll fix that. As soon as that is fixed, there'll be somewhere else, a loophole in, all right, what if we're not giving it to the player, we're giving the money to the family member? All right, we'll fix that loophole, that fence post. It's just going to keep happening. The Athletic wrote an article that the bagmen are going to come back. Bagmen being the under-the-table payments. The duffel bags full of cash that I don't know where it came from. It just popped up in my on my front doorstep. They were a thing in college sports long before players were allowed to make NIL money. If you limit how much they're allowed to make in NIL, the bag money is going to show back up to make sure they get to whatever they're worth. It is going to be a rancher's fence. It's never going to be done. It's never going to be built, and then you go, ha-ha, it's finished. It's always going to be a breach here, a loophole here. This team's pushing the line in this way. This team's pushing the line in that way. Buckle up. And the last part I'll say is this. I don't know if the NCAA can enforce any of it. If the NCAA says don't pay a player and you do it, and they say you're ineligible and you play him anyway, I'm not sure they have anything they can do. The schools, especially the big name brands, have more power than the NCAA does. Kind of crazy, right? Michigan has had coaches suspended, won a national championship, then had coaches suspended for the same reason after that. And the NCAA can't take away the championship. They're just letting them have it. I don't think the NCAA can do anything. We'll see how that goes. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
Go one!
Now he just got a penalty. Frederick just cross-checked Bennett. Broke his stick, but now Bennett's going to get even. That was Greer and Nurse. We're just going to start seeing 10-minute misconducts getting handed out.
There were some fights in the Stanley Cup final last night.
5-on-5 brawl at one point.
Yeah, darn right. 6-1 final score. Florida beats the Oilers.
Where have I seen this story before?
6-1 is way too familiar. 6 goals allowed is way too familiar. By the Panthers, yeah, been there. The interesting part to me is even more so than other teams, if I'm the Oilers, like, it felt wrong when the Canes tried to out-Panther the Panthers, right? And I'm not talking about style. I'm not talking about between the whistles. I'm talking about the Panthers are full of, and their fans say it lovingly, the Panthers are full of rats. And the Canes did a fantastic job against Tom Wilson and the Caps of just being above it, right? Of just laughing at him, right? Smiling at him, ignoring him. Then against the Panthers, they didn't use those same tactics. They kind of stooped to their level, and the Panthers beat them up once they got down to their level. The Oilers have McDavid. That's the ultimate, like, why would we go down and scrap? Why would we stoop to their level? If I am the Oilers, the last thing I'm doing is trying to go play in the sewers with the rats. I want to live in the penthouse with McDavid. It didn't make any sense to me. You're not going to, people think like, oh, they fought to make a statement for Game 4.
No, I think that was just frustration boiling over.
And what statement are you going to make? That you're not as good at playing their game as they are? The statement is, and by the way, Corey Perry, I'm going to blank on who it was. Corey Perry tried to drop the gloves, and a Panther pointed and laughed at him. That's vice versa.
Brad Marchand, when he was skating to the bench, looked over at the Oilers bench.
It might have been use your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you should be doing that stuff to them. I know it's frustrating, and I know I've never been in that situation. I know hockey is a sport where guys get under your skin for a living. Like, that's their role, that's their goal, and they're willing to settle it with their hands if they have to. Like, it's a different atmosphere. As a competitor, if somebody wants to act a fool, treat them like a fool. Right? If somebody wants to try to make it extracurricular, laugh at them. Smile at them, point at them, laugh at them. Remember Tom Wilson doing the storm surge? It's a great clip from the Canes versus the Caps, where everyone on the bench was looking at him like, you're a loser. And then he had nothing else to do, so he started waving a towel around. And it's going like, all right, what's up next on charades? Like, laugh at him. Don't try to beat them at that game. You will lose. Paul Maurice was asked if he anticipates more fights, and Graham lined up that clip. This is what he had to say.
I think you're going to get that. You're going to get that answer from any team in the National Hockey League that's playing in June, or we're not here. They're both teams. There's so much passion in the game, and they will always. But by the time you've gone on this journey, and Edmonton and Florida are, I believe, the two teams that have been on the longest journey for the last 3 years. We've both been through it. Right, so both teams are going to stick up for each other. They care about each other. They have the core is pretty much the same for both teams. The drivers of the team are the same for the last 3 years, so they'll always have each other's back.
Paul Maurice would love it. Love it if there were fights in Game 4. Why? Because that's the Panthers' game. The Oilers need to make sure there's not. They need to make sure, the best example, and I hate to use this movie because it's such an unserious movie, but it paints the picture of what I'm trying to say perfectly. The cinematic classic Happy Gilmore. One, not this one coming out later. I'm skeptical. Not the sequel. One, when Shooter McGavin, is trying to be extra intimidating. I eat pieces of bleep like you for breakfast. And Happy laughs and goes, you eat pieces of bleep for breakfast? No, and you throw him off. When you don't fight back, when you just, it throws him off. That's Tom Wilson, right? Tom Wilson, oh, your thing's so dumb. Oh, look at the storm surge. You're dancing on the ice. That's how you do it. I was very frustrated. I'm not an Oilers fan at all. I was very frustrated last night going, no, what are you doing? Don't do it. That's what they want you to do. You're falling into their trap. Maybe they'll learn. Maybe they won't, and it'll be a 5-game series. Who knows? But maybe they'll learn. Be above the fray. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We need numbers game contestants, don't we, Graham? We have a prize today of a 30-minute golf simulator pass. You get to play golf at their simulator at Rush Hour Karting for a half hour. If you move quick, you can play a full round in 30 minutes. You can play one of the iconic courses, right? One of the cool games that they have. The simulators are awesome. I'll put it that way. You get a free 30-minute pass at Rush Hour Karting if you win the numbers game. To win, you have to call in now. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. If you want to play the numbers game, it's coming up next.
Evan, Kenty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Red Sox rookie pitcher Hunter Dobbins. Quote, if the Yankees were the last team to give me a contract, I'd retire.
I respect it.
I feel the same way. If this show didn't make it and the only job I could get in media was as the Rams team reporter, I would become a barista.
I love it, Smalls. I love it.
Before I would ever take a check from those people.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. We're close to crowning a hockey champion, and when I'm not calling playoff games around the country, the first thing I do when I'm back in the Triangle is head to Buffalo Brothers. The best wings on the planet, and a great place to watch all the big games. Visit all 5 Triangle locations for great specials, like half-price pizzas, Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6, and a $6 Bloody Mary on Sunday. Dine in, carry out, get it delivered. BuffBrothers.com. Aw, man, now I want wings.
Teams are battling for the championship, and there's no better place to get in on the intensity than ESPN Bet. Go from tracking the latest game-changing moments to placing bets in just a few taps. Right now, new customers can get $100 in bonus bets when you make your first $10 wager. Download the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code JOEQ, that's JOEQ, to get started today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details. Offer not available in New York.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Granger. Granger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, a half hour on the golf simulator, a half hour, 30-minute golf simulator pass at Rush Hour Karting. Our contestants for today, Evan in Fuquay Varina, Tyler in Apex. As always, I will ask them both the same question. Graham, our producer for today, will be the judge, and he will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Evan in Fuquay Varina, are you there?
Yeah.
All right. The kind of tradition is when Graham is here, we ask this question. If you were a boxer, we'll say, and you're going into a heavyweight title fight, and you're walking out of the tunnel, you have your entourage with you, your trainer, you know, your cut man, all that kind of stuff. What song is playing as you walk into the arena?
Kind of basic, but probably "Lose Yourself" by Eminem.
Okay,
that's not bad.
"Lose Yourself" by Eminem, locked in. We'll see if it gets you to the leadoff spot. Line 2.
We lost Tyler.
All right, then the phone lines are open. Everybody call in now, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860.
Whoa, we might have even lost power because everything on my screen's kind of like.
Do we still have?
We're on the air. Yeah,
do we have Evan?
We have Evan.
All right.
Evan's still with us. We just need someone else.
919-860-5326. We need someone to go up against Evan. Call in now. 919-860-5326. How are we looking, Graham? You look very concerned.
I mean, we're on air.
Okay.
Evan's on hold. Maybe this is Tyler calling back.
Do we have someone else calling in? Just get somebody on the line. I don't think we lost power. I mean, I still have lights in here. It'd be a funny move if we lost. We do have. I think we have backup generators and everything, so maybe. Be something that I should know a little bit better. All right, Graham, what are we looking at?
Brett and Raleigh. We have Brett and Raleigh that is subbing in.
All right, Brett and Raleigh, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, the question is the same for you. If you are a heavyweight boxer and you have a title fight and you're walking out with your entourage, your trainer, and everybody else, what song is playing over the arena loudspeakers?
As a Virginia Tech fan, I will say Enter Sandman.
Enter Sandman. Solid. Super fun to be in Lane Stadium when they play.
Oh, yeah.
Graham, the answers, yeah, he's in there trying to figure out tech stuff. Brett's answer was Enter Sandman.
Oh.
So the options are Evan says Lose Yourself, Brett says Enter Sandman. Who gets the boxing intro nod?
They're both great options, but since Metallica was just in Charlotte last weekend, I kind of feel like I have to lean towards Enter Sandman. And plus, you've seen that entrance time and time again up at Virginia Tech, so it's only right.
Night game in Lane Stadium is pretty darn cool. So Brett and Raleigh gets to go first. Evan and Fuquay Varina, don't worry, you will have your chance. Just have to sit and hold for a second. Brett, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, I am.
All right, the categories are NFL players that switched positions from college to the pros, NFL players that have torn an ACL at some point in their career, NBA players that have had triple doubles and are active players. So an active player that has at least one triple double, and NHL players that are Hurricanes throughout history.
I will do the NBA players.
Okay. NBA players that have had at least a triple-double, and they are all active. I will give you the player and the team. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
I think I'm good.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. John Moran, Memphis Grizzlies.
12.
Correct. Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers.
8.
Incorrect. Josh Giddey, Chicago Bulls.
15.
Incorrect. Joel Embiid, Philadelphia 76ers.
13.
Incorrect. Josh Giddey, Chicago Bulls.
3.
Correct. Amen Thompson, Houston Rockets.
Oh, pass.
Paolo Banchero, Orlando Magic.
0.
Incorrect. Josh Giddey, Chicago Bulls.
3.
All right. You already got 3 there, so I didn't get to finish it anyway. John Morant, 12, got it. You mentioned Giddey, 3, you got that one, so you got 2. For those of you playing at home, Joel Embiid, 21 or 24 were the numbers we were looking for. Thompson, Amen Thompson, one of the twins, number 1 with the Rockets, and Paolo Banchero is number 5 with the Magic. Not for nothing, you did guess 8 for Joel Embiid, and he has 8 triple-doubles, so maybe that was what you were thinking of. I'll give you that credit, even if it's not true. So you got 2. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if it's enough for the win. That brings us to Evan in Fuquay Arena. Evan, are you there?
Yes.
All right. Which category do you want? NFL players that switched positions from college to the pros, NFL players that have torn an ACL at some point in their career, or NHL Hurricanes only?
Let's do the NFL ACL one.
All right. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. You need at least 3 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Rob Gronkowski, New England Patriots.
87.
Correct. Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns.
24.
Correct. Thomas Davis, Carolina Panthers.
58.
Say it again.
58.
Correct. Kendrick Bourne, New England Patriots.
17.
Incorrect. Nick Bosa, San Francisco 49ers.
97.
Correct. Kendrick Bourne, New England Patriots.
24.
Incorrect. Kendrick Bourne, New England Patriots.
4.
What was that? Yeah, I mean, you may have gotten a perfect score there, but we got to blame your connection. What was the last number you said for Kendrick Bourne?
84.
Say the first letter. Or, sorry, first number.
84.
Yeah, that's correct.
We did.
I was going to say, I don't think we can count it because your connection was bad. So you would have had a perfect score, but you don't. 87 Gronk, 24 Nick Chubb. Thomas Davis, we would have accepted 47 or 58. Kendrick Bourne, as we just said, 84. I feel bad about it, but I don't think we can give you the perfect score. Nick Bosa with the Niners, 97. You got that one as well. I can say that you are the winner. You got plenty for the win. You get the half-hour gift card, free 30-minute golf simulator pass at Rush Hour Karting. And I will promise you this. I will play the tape for our judges tomorrow and make sure we grab the contact info, Graham. We'll call you back if it counts, okay?
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Appreciate it. Kind of a weird way to end it, but stay on the line. Graham has some info he needs to grab from you. I mean, it sounded like 84, but it also sounded like 4.
I heard.
4. I knew it was 4. It could have been it. And he already guessed 24 once, so I didn't. We're all kinds of off today. So instead, we're just going to power through and tell you about Mainer Service Company. Tim Donnelly here for Mainer Service Company. You know what? We just had a little power scare, right? Oh, did our power go out? Luckily, we have backup generators and everything else. But if your power goes out, it might not be so smooth, right? Think about your refrigerator. Everything in there going bad. Think about your air conditioner. Think about all the things that go wrong when your power goes out. And then call Mainer Service Company. Your electric, right? It might not be your power going out. Maybe it is just something in your electric system isn't getting the power to the refrigerator. Maybe it's a plumbing issue and there's flooding going on. I don't know. Heating, cooling, plumbing, electric, whatever it is, Mainer Service Company will get to the bottom of it. Excellent technicians, great customer service. They're a part of our community. You see their trucks out and about. And here's another part to remember. 24/7 service all across the triangle, right? We can't predict when the power goes out. We can't predict when the plumbing breaks. We can't predict when any of it happens. If it's the middle of the night, you need someone there in the middle of the night. 24/7 service from Mainer Service Company. But you got to give them a call, right? 919-361-0993. That's 919-361-0993. Or you can visit them online, MainerServices.com, MAYNOR services.com. We have our question of the day for the Carolina Panthers coming up. 44 days till training camp. We answer the question coming up.
Hello, I'm John Hester for the Hester Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Hester to you.
Heineken Silver is a world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. It keeps things light and refreshing all year round. It's like rain showing up to cool things off and then politely leaving. It's like cracking open a window and nailing the cross breeze. So, as we move into the warmer weather, grab a crisp and refreshing Heineken Silver and taste the difference. Only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Available at your local Heineken retailer or for delivery at Heineken.com/silver now. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies to same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
You think rush hour karting is just about racing? Think again. At our Morrisville and Gardner locations, you're stepping into a world of high-speed go-karts, axe throwing, golf and racing simulators, arcade challenges, and a full-service kitchen serving up serious flavor. It's where corporate events turn into bonding moments and friend nights turn legendary. This isn't just entertainment, it's serious adult fun. Visit rhkfun.com to plan your experience today.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? It's all here, only with Spectrum TV Select. Popular apps are included. Disney Plus, Max, Peacock Premium, Paramount Plus, AMC Plus, and more. And live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. Enjoy across your devices no matter when or where you are. Get Spectrum TV Select and start streaming your favorites today. It's all here. Visit spectrum.com/entertainment. Restrictions apply.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hot summer days mean time on the water. Let Sound Station and Security make your time even better with our custom boat options. At Sound Station and Security, our Raleigh marine experts can help you for everything with your boat, from the perfect audio system to lights to video. We do it all custom, and we do it all from scratch. You're unique. Your boat should be too. Make sure everyone knows where the best party is this summer on the lake with Sound Station and Security. With 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Young under center. Here's the snap. Play fake. Rolling right. Throws back of the end zone. Tommy Tremble. Center cut. Wide open. Touchdown Carolina.
There's a little Enter Sandman coming out of break. It's The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 44 days till training camp for the Carolina Panthers. They are in minicamp right now. And don't worry, we're not going to dive too far into who looked great in minicamp because it, quite frankly, doesn't matter. It is, I will say, and I said this earlier, attendance matters for minicamp, not just because the holdouts want more money for contracts and salary cap, but also young players. Like, there's a lot of teaching that goes on at minicamp. There's a lot of learning offenses and things. A lot of trust is built. So attendance is important for minicamp. Everything else, wishy-washy. That's not our training camp question, or our countdown to training camp question. Every show until training camp, we are asking one question about the Carolina Panthers. We have 44 days. You know, you take out holidays, you take out weekends. There's 30-something shows left. The question simply for today is, how important is Brandt Tillis to this whole shebang? Brandt Tillis is, for those of you that don't know, assistant GM, right-hand man of Dan Morgan. He was signed by the Carolina Panthers out of the front office of the Kansas City Chiefs. When the hiring happened, it was very much framed like he was a salary cap guy. He was somebody that knew how to structure contracts, and that's what he would be. It has become very obvious that he is more than that. It has become, I've mentioned this before. There's a subset of the internet, which is a dangerous place to be, that judges the importance of somebody in a football franchise by where they sit in the draft room, right? The GM, how close are you? Where's the coach? Where's the quarterback? Not the quarterback. Where's the owner, right? As far as all of that. If you believe that, Brandt Tillis is the second most important person in the front office. Dan Morgan sits in the middle. On one side, it's Brandt Tillis. On the other side, it's David Tepper and Dave Canales. So who the heck is this Brandt Tillis guy? He just gave a long-form interview. It's like 40, 45 minutes with Field Yates, ESPN. And it was kind of, now Field Yates, and you can see why Brandt Tillis, who is kind of an enigma right now, he's a mystery, would give this interview to Field Yates. They worked together in the Chiefs front office like 15 years ago. I don't know, it was a long time ago. Before Field Yates got into the media. So it's a home game for Tillis in the interview. Brandt Tillis, to me, is the perfect counterpart to Dan Morgan. The yang to the yin, whatever your analogy is, it is there. He is not just a salary cap guy by any stretch. He is somebody that looks at football from an analytics slant, like he's on that side, but he's not afraid to voice his opinion, and it comes from years and years and years and years and years, going back to childhood, of being a front office, I say this lovingly, nerd. Front office psycho. I gave some of the anecdotes from the podcast I listened to Graham earlier. I saved this one for on air, Graham. So Brandt Tillis' first job out of college was with the NFL league office. And he was fresh out of college, young guy, wasn't getting paid much, so he had some downtime. And he was in New York City, right? And I don't know if anyone's ever lived in New York City, been around New York City, or heard of New York City. There's not much you can do if you're not getting paid much money. Living is expensive in New York City. So he would literally say, this week I am going to learn all about Article 14 of the CBA. And he would go home after work and read the collective bargaining agreement. That's like saying, today I'm going to read the warning label on like a bicycle, and it's going to have all of the, no death or bird injury, whatever. Like, just so much fine print. And he would just say, I'm going to learn all about Article 14. And he would study it for a week. And then the next week he would say, the Dion rule, which was changed for Deion Sanders in free agency. I'm going to learn all about the Dion rule. And he would read that portion of the CBA.
You know what this is the vibes these are giving me? Eric Tulsky of the Carolina Panthers.
Similarly, but without the non-sports background.
Correct.
Right, because Tulsky had like patents and he was a chemist and he has advanced degrees. Tillis has been a football guy like his whole life, but very similar. He is deep in the side of analytically building a team. He's negotiated massive contracts for Mahomes, for Travis Kelce, for Chris Jones with the Chiefs that are all aging wonderfully. And he reportedly handled most of those negotiations while sitting around his kitchen table doing jigsaw puzzles with his wife. Like, that tells you the vibe. He used to play franchise mode in Madden. Shout out to everybody that grew up playing Madden. He'd play franchise mode and wouldn't play any of the games. He'd do the drafts, he'd do the free agency, he'd do the trades, and then he would simulate the games because he wasn't there to play. He was there to build the team. And as soon as he won a Super Bowl, he would start over. Thus, leaving the Chiefs for the Panthers. He built the Panthers along with Brett Veach and a few Andy Reid. He built it up to be a dynasty, and then he went and joined with one of the worst teams in the league, seeing if he could do it again. Dan Morgan is the football guy. And by the way, we talked about this with Eric Tulsky, where I was worried when Eric Tulsky took over that what he would miss most from Don Waddell, who was the GM when Eric Tulsky was the assistant GM, was the hockey guy kind of charm, right? The picking up pieces of information just by chatting with guys that he's known for a long time. Eric Tulsky was an outsider, came from a different side of the part of the world, right? Not in the hockey world during his formative years. Brant Tillis is the Eric Tulsky with Dan Morgan being the football guy, right? Dan Morgan wants to look you in the eye, shake your hands, and figure out if you're a dog. Brant Tillis has spreadsheets on how you fit into the offense. You need both. Brant Tillis is wildly important to the Carolina Panthers. Wildly important. Because if you're making all your decisions off gut feel and I played the game and I know what a good player looks like, you're gonna miss out on some diamonds in the rough. Same is true the opposite way, right? If you're making all your decisions on calculators and who does this best and DVOA rankings and everything else, then you're going to put together a roster that makes sense, but a locker room that doesn't. So if you watch like the Blueprint, right, which is the YouTube series that the Panthers put out behind the scenes of their draft, Dan Morgan was on the phone talking to teams, and Brant Tillis was on the phone talking to teams. Right? They are very much bouncing off of each other, and that is wildly important. Checks and balances system, right? What is it? Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Nobody on the Panthers has absolute power. I mean, Dan Morgan does, let's be real, right? He's the one that gets to make the final decisions. But he respects Brant Tillis enough to let him voice his opinions, and that's important. That's really important. So it's like those, Bill Belichick had Ernie Adams legendarily. Ernie Adams was just like the man behind the curtain, somebody that could voice a different opinion. Brant Tillis, to me, especially if the Panthers start turning it around, is going to be at the top of a list for a lot of GM jobs, right? He's already helped build the Chiefs into a superpower. If the Panthers start turning it around, he's going to get a lot of looks. David Tepper, right outside the salary cap, can use his pocketbook, can use his money to make sure the Panthers keep their advantage by paying him enough to make it worth his while to stay. There are two in every organization that their salaries do not count towards the salary cap that I think rich owners should be itching to spend on. Offensive play caller and GM. And in this case, it would be kind of co-GM. Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis, you can give them $10 million a year, and it doesn't count towards the salary cap. That is value that you get if you have a rich owner. So spend on it. Tillis is important, man. He is a fascinating dude. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Do we have Overdrive coming up next? We do. So stick around for Overdrive. We'll figure out what you're going to be hearing. Graham, thank you for keeping us up and running. So thank you for battling through whatever the power scare that we had was. We'll be back tomorrow to break down more of minicamp. Dennis is actually going to be up there in Charlotte at minicamp, so we'll hear from him and hopefully get some audio for the Charlotte Panthers, Carolina Panthers. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a wonderful night and enjoy Enter Sandman on the way out.
Golf's third major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover the U.S. Open from Oakmont Country Club. Find out if Bryce and DeChambeau can go back-to-back or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Champions Trophy. Coverage of the U.S. Open on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Wilson Country Club. Experience the rich history of this must-play course.
Out on credit cards, struggling with high interest.